actually working on. Everyone that like owns a part of the like that is like inside the project, let's call it the devs or like the project team, they have like an encrypted data room that runs on Arweave and on Filecoin. So it uses lit protocol. And so when you use something like IP NFTs, the data around your scientific research projects, you can make them public, right? So it can be open science, kind of like a GitHub repo. You can open source the GitHub repo, or you can have it closed. Or, but in many cases, if you want to file a patent, like then you need to keep certain parts of the research private. For instance, what type of molecule you're investigating. You could share the results of how that molecule is behaving in the lab, right? But you wouldn't share exactly which molecule it is. And I'll just give you an example of why. So we worked briefly with an organization called the Open Source Pharma Foundation, and they have a project, you can look this up, called Open Source Malaria. And they were using GitHub to investigate several malaria candidates. And I think they were this was in India. And it was a really vibrant and active research community. They had received funding from the Gates Foundation. It's like it was quite serious, but they were just like, no, we're going to open source all of this for the world. There's no patents. And I think they got into like late stage preclinical like trials that they were all running at their local universities in a super low cost way. No one would give them any money whatsoever for like a clinical trial, or would even consider it. Like people, like they spoke to a few funders, and like no one would even consider doing anything with them because they had just open sourced everything, because it was impossible to get any kind of patents around it. And so this is so antithetical to how the current system works, that if you don't understand, like ultimately, if you don't understand like drug commercialization, like even like the goal of a patent doesn't need to be that like you're extracting billions of dollars. Like that's what the pharma companies typically do in the end, right? But you can still have patents and actually protect the IP in an open source way. No, like in a way that is beneficial for patients, through patient ownership or through just like fair pricing and everything. But if you have nothing, and if you just open source everything, then like serious commercial people will never take you serious, because it's too different than how the system works today, unfortunately. Yeah, that's where we think IP NFTs are important. They form the building block pretty much of what all of the DAOs use, and of what like most of the assets that are launched through bioprotocol use. Maybe as a last thing, so what is a BioDAO? It's something that is often talked about, or like what are IPTs? So an IPT is actually like a tokenized version of like an IP NFT, right? So you say like, we have one very specific legal agreement here. We have one research project. This is what it's about. It's this molecule. And then we create ERC20 tokens and make that individual research project tradable. Right. And so you can, like, if good data emerges around that project, the price goes up, bad data, price goes down. And over time, a fair market valuation is established, and the project can continue fundraising through that mechanism. The other example is a DAO, where like we had the previous presenter. DAOs essentially build portfolios of research and IP tokens, which can be sold to pharma or can be commercialized in a whole variety of ways. And then the last and really exciting aspect that we have that we've built out, and we have a pretty sophisticated stack on this at this point, are bioagents. So bioagents are essentially, they can automate core research functionalities for scientific communities. So they can generate novel scientific hypotheses. Other agents can rank, evaluate, design these hypotheses. And then humans can interact with those ideas and provide key feedback and rewards. And so what we're seeing now is that agents are coming up with like entirely novel research approaches that we can fund because they contain IP. Yeah. I think I'm a little bit on over time, but I'll stop here. I'll share some of the slides for anyone after the call, and I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
All right. Just want to confirm. Can everyone hear me? All right, excellent. Very glad to be here. Very glad to be here and to also be having this discussion and this conversation with us. Special appreciation to Scott, who invited me to be a part of this conversation, and congratulations on this actually. So I'm going to be speaking on something that I find very exciting for today. So I'll be sharing my screen in no moment. Yeah, great. About policy and how and its impact on science, across Africa. And I'm very much like interested in this conversation because I myself, started as a young scientist, went to my high school was a full science school. So I did sciences from like, if you are familiar with the Nigerian context, so we have like GSS. So I started doing pure science. I went to a school of science from GSS 1 till I finished school. And I was able to do a lot of things. But then after that, that actually like pricked my interest a lot in science, and I was in a lot, and I wanted to like expand a lot in science before I went into like science education. One thing that we need to know is that policy and science are like five and six. They're like they are together because the ability for science to actually like take root and actually be impactful is at the backbone of policies. And many times people do not understand how deep policies actually affect science, because policy and science is a shaped relationship. Like it shapes the existence of science, the direction of science, the quality of science, and the impact of science. Let me give us an example. So, if you think about during World War, right, one of the things that shaped science a lot was the policies that the political will was having. So, if there's a political will, science most times follows political will. The reason they started exploiting certain research or exploring even the world of certain research, where we now had like Einstein and so many of those people in that time come up with inventions and science, you manipulate equations and different things that could lead to their country and their nation achieving their sovereignty, was as a result of policy, right? We've seen about, I think about 20 years ago, we saw China say they wanted to lead in research and development in the world, and they opened like they made a policy, and as a result of that they started doing a lot of fully funded PhD programs, master's program, research doctorates, postdoctoral programs, And we saw how that has affected, like, China positively. Like, you see China now like one of the leading countries in terms of technology, and that's because there was a policy, and that policy shaped the existence, the direction, the quality, and the impact of science. So, many times people are like, I just want to be in the lab, I just want to do my code, or I just want to be, the scientist that I am, without necessarily understanding that the fact that you even have the chemicals that you're working with, the fact that you have like the like the equipment and all of those things is actually as a result of policy. So I wrote in my slide when I was thinking and about this particular session that for like the virtuous cycle of enablement, policies are supposed to enable things. So that allows us to foster innovation, resources, and social benefits. So but then we've seen constantly a vicious cycle of neglect. And because there's been a lot of neglect in terms of policy regarding science, it stifles growth, limits funding, and reduces impact. And this actually results a lot in stagnation and missed opportunities. There's so many people who are frustrated because policies actually stifles creativity and innovation in science. And I must say, I have like a an unpopular opinion that policies that are not shaping science are made that way because of certain reasons, and we'll go into that, right? So because if you look at African countries, which is actually like my focus, I mean, I've been to many African countries. I've been to at least like 3, 4 African countries in each of regions of Africa, in Eastern Africa, Northern Africa, Southern Africa, Central Africa, and Western Africa, definitely. And one thing I've realized is that there is low science, adoption in many of these countries as a result of policy. And at some point in 2006, this happened in Nigeria, the African Union came together in Abuja, and they made a declaration to say that at least every member state should put 1% of its GDP in furtherance of research and development in science. So they signed this, and every member state signed this. But then, even up until now, that we are in 2025, December, none of those countries have been able to meet that quota. Sub-Saharan Africa is even worse. It's just approximately about 0.4 of their GDP that is being put into science. And that's a UNESCO data actually, right? And this data is as recent as 2022, 2023. So that's the current reality. Since 2006 up until now, 0.4% is actually what we have seen in science. So I did science education, and for a long time I was teaching chemistry in schools, and I remember that um, some of the reagents, right, that we would use, when I was studying and training to be a chemistry teacher. By the time I was teaching in the classrooms and I was teaching chemistry labs, those reagents were nowhere to be found anymore, because at some point we had a precedent in our country that banned certain things. And because the president banned certain things, some of those chemicals too were also banned. Aside that, because of the instability in policies and how that affected the currency, some of the reagents and some of the chemicals that we would buy for practicals and demonstrations, we couldn't afford them anymore. So many times, actually, science, the direction of science, the existence of science, and the impact of science, many times, is actually heavily dependent and reliant on policies. And that's why I am always of the opinion that we need more scientists running for elections, being lawmakers, or actually being in more advisory roles. But many times, because there is a pursuant of science or innovation or technology that allows us to like think that, oh, we are just like in our own self. We have this intellectual stimulating conversations, and we don't want to like interact with politics. We don't want to interact with like social behavior interactions, like voting, elections, and many of those things. But these things actually affect our survival, right? I mean, you can see that the price of this underfunding, you might think, oh, what's that? Every single thing that is wrong with science right now is as a result of policy. Policy is actually what is wrong with science. But then in the next few minutes, I'll be talking as to some of my thoughts as to how we can change this, because I don't want to like just show you how policy affects science alone. I also want to like propose solutions. So there's a chronic underfunding gap, right? So there's a global average, which is like 1.7% of GDP. But see what Africa is like. We are very low. We're actually supposed to be doubling down a lot on science, on STI, because that's science, technology, and innovation. That was what they signed. That's what the African Union member of states agreed to. They've not even achieved that goal since 2006. Next year, in the next few months, is going to make it 20 years, which we are low beyond this funding gap. Right, like I said, the dilapidated labs, outdated equipment, scarce reagent and materials, like I explained, that's my experience teaching science, low researcher salaries driving the brain drain. Every amazing researcher that I know, most of the lecturers, most of the professors are now in the UAE, or they're in the US, or they're in China, or they're in Japan, because those people had policies that were able to attract them, right? And limited grant and funding opportunities. I, for example, said that my first grant that I got was a science grant, and it was a science grant that was given by the Science and Technology Commissioner of Oyo State at that time, because I had built certain things. But I mean, I don't know many people who still get science grants. I don't even know if we have enough science fairs, right? And these things are not necessarily things that would require a lot of money, but it's a way to actually, like, if everybody has like an endowment, and it doesn't cost a lot to actually have an endowment, right? Or to even build interest in science, but we just need policies that can do it. So let me give you us an example. One policy that associations like groups can actually do is that you can begin to influence certain things, right? If you go through CAC and you go through like lawmakers and actually ask them that they mandate private companies to give, let's say, 0.5% of their profit, just not even 1%, 0.5% of their profit towards science research in their local community. They don't need to pay the government. They just need to ensure that 0.5% of their profit goes to like a project that supports science. So maybe like building a lab, or funding a science research, or funding a grant, or doing something like that. That single policy alone can actually translates to a lot of money. Or I mean, if you have pressure groups, or maybe a group can come, borderless science, even as an organization, can begin to push that frontier to say, okay, can we have group of people who can create a fund? Can we create a fund to actually ensure that we have more grant and funding opportunities for people to do science? Science must be fun. Science must be experimental. Africa is one of the few countries I know where, even though we know that science has a lot of experiments, but you're not allowed to make experiments because you have limited and scarce resources and materials. So if you do a procedure, you must get the result. Right? So this is my solution to like this, because I don't think that the current way we do science, and the current way we shape policies, and the current way we think about science and how it shape policies, I don't think that it is helping us. Like, we are we are chasing shadows, right? So today I just want to challenge us to begin to think about, especially if you have people from other African countries, because I've been to many of those countries and I see these things, and I mean, I was supposed to be in person, but I'm currently, like, in Europe traveling, and I can see the investment in science, like, even up until now, like research going on every single time, and I'm like, are we going to ever be able to match up with this thing, right? For a long time, I felt like we needed to be like those countries, but no, we don't need to actually. I realized that China did that, and many other countries have done that. We don't need to be like the West. We don't need to. I know that science is universal, but the universality of science is not the way we think about it, right? The universality of technology is not the way we are thinking about it, thinking that we must look like the West. So I just want to say that, can we begin to think about decolonizing policies and science in Africa might actually be the solution? And how should we think of that? How can we decolonize policies and sciences? So basically, what I'm trying to say is that when we begin to decolonize, we begin to remove the Western influences, we begin to like think less of, oh, we must look like them, or we must repeat what they are doing, and we can begin to look inward. Decolonizing allows us to look inward. There's an Kenyan historian that and researcher that I read his work actually 2 years ago when I was in a fellowship, and I think that word actually really resonates with me. So decolonizing science is what it says. I took it from that particular work that I read. And it says decolonizing science is about creating species where African researchers can ask the questions that matter to their communities, using methods appropriate to their context the methods that we are using right now are not appropriate to our context, and our policies are not even enabling us to be able to actually carry them out properly. Like, we don't even have the money. We are we don't have many things, right? So how are we going to be able to do that, right? So I think right now, we need to go through two fronts: advocacy and decolonization. So, advocacy and advocating for policies that will be more Afrocentric for African countries, for us to begin to think about how can we create our own science. I know there is African science. People from the West come to study African science, and Africans don't study African science, right? So we need to be able to study more African science using methods appropriate to our context and building knowledge that serves their people, liberation, and flourishing. So that's why I put this email. So they're like community questions, and they are contextual methods, right? Most of the methods of research that we use right now are still the same methods that we got from the West. And I'm not saying that these methods are not great methods, but it's just that it's not working for our context. We keep chasing shadows, and we are not leading in anything. Like, the pandemic happened, and it showed how weak, many of our systems are. And the only system that was solid, or that helped us to not get wiped off as a continent by the pandemic, were the local contextual methods that we had, right? Were the local ways and the local intelligence that we had. I remember, like, watching, I think it was a BBC. Yeah, I remember a BBC, and it's a BBC broadcast I was watching during the pandemic, and they were like, oh, like, Africa is going to like get wiped out because of COVID. But then we had our own way of doing things. We had our own science. We had every of those kind of things. What if we have policies, and that's where advocacy comes in. What if we have policies that further um further enhances or further appreciates or fund people to come up with more contextual method and more African-led research, and we can begin to lead from that? Then that would be actually like very great. African-led research would give us a lot of alternative to so many of the things that we buy and we pay for and people in Africa. So those are like some of like the things that I wanted to share with us, so that we can begin to think about these things. Thank you so much. I just want us to know that in case you are a scientist, a technologist, whatever it is that you are doing, as long as you are in innovation, science, technology, and innovation, policy affects every single thing that you do. And there's a reason the way things are right now. From time immemorial, from the times of Einstein, from the times of Newton, policies and political will have always shaped science. It has always shaped science. So if we want to get to a place of prosperity as scientists, then we must shape policies. Then you must be paying attention. I mean, from like next year, from like 2027 to 2028, we're going to enter into another cycle of elections in Africa. This is time when we can begin to plan and ensure that the people who will vote actually have science, interest in research and development, interest in boosting these things. So this would really, really help us as we proceed. So yeah, so thank you so much once again, everyone. I deeply, deeply appreciate the honor and the invitation, and I do not take this for granted. And I look forward to questions if there are any, or anything that might bring more clarity or clarification to the things that I've shared.
All right. Thank you so much, Erelu Adinka, for your session on policy and how it affects how we do science across Africa. I was very stunned to see you talk about something about Abuja. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the solid session. And let's check the comments if we have any questions. I'm not sure there are questions. They are actually very excited to hear you speak in the comment section. All right. So thank you so much for your time. Up next, we would be having Professor Ashiat Akodu from the University of Lagos, and she would be talking to us about musculoskeletal and data practice in Africa. So thank you once again, Erelua, and see you soon. Okay, so we would be going to Professor Akodu. Currently, she's not on the stream. she's not on the stream currently, so when she comes, we would bring her up. And yes, we also have our paper presentations today. As at 2-3 weeks ago, we sent out a call for paper presentations, and a couple of persons applied and they were selected, and they would be presenting those papers actually today. So okay, so very soon it's going to get to them. I will just get proper confirmation from the lead in charge if they are set, and then we proceed. But while we prepare to do that, we want to take a session that we missed earlier today because of all of the glitch in Cloudflare. Thank you so much, guys, for actually sticking with us. We do not take you for granted. So I'm about sharing the screen. 1 second. All right. So about DeSci Lagos. So once again, you guys are welcome to DeSci Lagos, and it's been an amazing year for us at Borderless Science. Borderless Science is a science organization that is focused on science commercialization, standardization, as well as transcending or translating science from paper to product. So this year has been an amazing year because we started from a small place, a small gathering. And here, one of our watchword for this year is Lagos Love Science. And we believe that DeSci Lagos is a flagship project of Borderless Science designed to introduce and integrate decentralized science principles and technologies into the academic and research landscape. All right. And we are looking to focus on engaging traditional academia and, yeah, including professors, scientists, young researchers, and students. All right. So, and over the years, we could see that there are DeSci events across the world. And there's DeSci London, DeSci Berlin, DeSci NYC, and DeSci Dubai. And we made Footprint, which is from DeSci December last year, which was a community gathering. Now we are live at DeSci Lagos. So you can give yourself a round of applause wherever you find yourself, because you are part of our story. So very soon we'll be going to Professor Ashiat's session immediately after this slide. And then to ignite a vibrant design movement in Nigeria, empower local academics, researchers, and students to embrace decentralized technologies for enhanced scientific collaboration, transparency, and impact. So we aim to educate and inform, bridge and connect, inspire and empower, and catalyze community, as well as position Nigeria as a proactive DeSci movement. All right, our target audience, we've been interacting over a couple of months. We had a bootcamp session in June that reached out to over 200 young scientists, educating them on project and product management and other aspects of tooling and research in decentralization. All right, so these are some scientific breakthroughs of research in Africa, and these are some examples of DeSci projects. So once again, welcome to the future of science commercialization. Welcome to DeSci Lagos. All right, so up next we have Professor Ashiat Akodu, the founder of Cervix Tech, and she is a lecturer at the University of Lagos. She'll be taking us through musculoskeletal and health practices in Africa. So, Professor Akodu, you are now live, and I would as well help you with your presentation. All right, over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good. I was about to say that I will prefer you help me share my slides. Okay. So, as I've been introduced, I'm Professor Ashiat Akodo, and I'm a professor of musculoskeletal and digital health and digital physiotherapy. I don't know. Can you hear my voice?
Yes,
Am I audible? Hello?
very audible.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So I can start now. Next slide, please. Before I continue, I don't know. I want to know the audience. What's the demographic of the audience? So I will know how to break
The
it.
Okay, so the demographic of the audience are scientists, young scientists, and researchers actually in
Oh,
general. So we have majorly from 18 to maybe 40, but a higher amount of the demographic are very young youth and young people.
okay, okay, good, good. Thank you for that. Okay, so this is the outline, and I'll be talking basically about musculoskeletal health in Africa and how we've been able to at least navigate it till now, especially in the physiotherapy profession. All right, next slide, please. Next slide.
Yep. Next.
So, musculoskeletal health in Africa. Basically, what musculoskeletal health is all about is these like talking about the study of the muscles, the joints, the bones, and everything about um, the skeletal system in the body. So, but in Africa, next slide, please. In Africa, we try to see the way we can actually help people because we realize that most individuals try to treat their problems by themselves. They feel pain is something that they can just use a balm on, and that's all. Until maybe afterward they realize that it's something beyond just massaging, that you need to actually consult a specialist for the treatment. So, what is musculoskeletal disorders? Next slide, please. So, this are inflammatory and degenerative conditions affecting the muscles, tendons, ligaments, joints, nerves, blood vessels in the human body. And they include conditions such as the lower back pain, the neck pain, shoulder, and knee pain. Talking about the lower back pain, that's a pain that people experience around the lower aspect of the back. And it affects about 85% of individual in a lifetime. That's the statistics. That 85% of the individual will experience lower back pain in a lifetime. Excuse me, it's followed by the neck pain. And that's looking at the statistics about maybe 40 to 45% of individuals may experience it in a lifetime. And for lower back pain, it's actually cut across what could cause it. Majorly talking about maybe the kind of lifestyle one lives, the occupation, many other things in terms of something that can actually affect your back, even the way you lift, even the way you sit down. We talk more about that in the next slide. For neck, it's now been assessed for neck before. It's maybe when you carry something on your head, something heavy, and you do that often. But now it's now been linked to some other causes in terms of even the way we make use of our phones. Shoulder that can be attributed to maybe the kind of occupation that person does, and maybe the way you handle things can actually result into you having shoulder pain, and may even be the continuous usage of your shoulder. Knee, the knee pain will see many people, at least the statistics also is about 50% of individuals. And for knee, it's quite common because it's obvious, because you see the deformity easily than the other ones. And that's why it's more prevalent among the elderly. But even now, it's not only elderly alone, but when you come to the hospital, you see a lot of people 50 years and above that come down with knee pain, because the word that we use, that the ones that normally visit the hospital, is called osteoarthritis of the knee, and that is causing degenerative changes of the knee joint, which can actually result into deformity of bow leg or K leg, and even some individuals might be incapacitated that they won't even be able to walk again. And there are a lot of predisposing factors to it, but the major one is obesity. And you know, the way our body is being structured, you know, remember the biology in our secondary school. Looking at the body system as a whole, from inside the skeleton and also the muscles. The issue we have with knee OA, and even with all the other ones I've mentioned so far, is majorly the generic, that like, this kind of wear and tear in the joint. But for the knee, is more pronounced because of the weight that the person bears on the knee joint. Sometimes it might be hereditary, that is more of genetic predisposition, but not necessarily. Sometimes it may even be what you eat, putting into your mouth, and maybe your lifestyle, the kind of footwear you wear, and maybe a person walked for too long. Even sedentary lifestyle, sitting down for too long, can actually also result into it. But majorly, if you look at the people that are more prone to it, are the people that are overweight or obese. Next slide, please. So I've talked a bit about the prevalence, and next slide, I just have a chart there trying to just give us an overview of what the prevalence looks like. And this is just trying to give us what I've said before, but in total in Africa, that's 85% for the lower back. But the totally in Africa musculoskeletal disorders, it's the prevalence about 70.8%. And you can see the variation in other countries, like in East Africa, we have 68.7%, and West Africa, we have 72%, which is quite huge. In South Africa, we have 61.6%, and also is in North Africa there. So basically, it's something that a condition or disorders that you cannot just overlook, and that's why it's very important that we look for a way out in terms of solving the problem. Aside from people visiting the hospital, how else can we provide solution to these musculoskeletal issues that people experience daily in the day-to-day activities? Next slide, please. So this is just a chart trying to just give us a summary of the percentages of where it affects in the body, and I've already explained some of them in the previous slides. You can see the lower back constituting more than almost 44.8%. This chart was actually, I brought it out from a study done among professionals and among nurses. So it's more pronounced for the lower back, and it's because of the activities of what most professionals, what they do in terms of maybe the lift patient, that's for nurses now, physiotherapy, lifting of patient, lifting of equipment, and also maybe standing for too long while you're trying to manage your patient, or abnormal posture while also even trying to manage patient. And you can see for the neck is the next one, and followed by the upper back and the shoulder. Basically, in our clinic here in physiotherapy, the prevalence of shoulder pain is not as much as for lower back. The largest percentage of patients that actually visit our clinic here, they're more of lower back and knee pain. And that's why a lot of measures need to be put in place to address the issue of pain of the lower back and the knee joints, and for the other ones too. Next slide, please. So you can see the predisposing contributions to factors that can actually lead to MSDS in the world, not necessarily only in Africa. And I've mentioned earlier about sedentary lifestyle, the way we behave, our lifestyle behavior, sitting down for too long, watching movies, being on social media for too long, that's inactivity. That can actually result in not being active, moving the joints and the muscles very well, and can result into individuals developing musculoskeletal disorders. Not necessarily of the back alone now. In fact, now we've even discovered that you have musculoskeletal disorders of the extremities, which are your wrist, your fingers, and elbow, and other parts of the body, because of the way we type on our phones, the way we handle our phones. Sedentary lifestyle, because you're seated for too long. You can see some people sitting 2-3 hours on social media, on phone. That's sedentary lifestyle. By the time the person stands up, you just realize that the person starts having pain of the lower back, even the knee joint. And if the person is now bending the head while using the phone, then there's a contributing factor now leading to neck pain. That's musculoskeletal disorders of the neck region. So you can see obesity here also, because the normal BMI of an individual should be about 18.5 to 24.9 kilogram per meter squared, and that's then calculated by your dividing your weight over height squared. So if it exceeds that, which is the normal BMI, you should know that you should work on it. And for the morbid or the obese individuals, that person will be getting greater than 30 kilogram per meter squared. And that is more, that's why they use the word morbid, that it's deadly. It's tending you towards a major problem that you need to address early enough. And that's why we normally advise individuals with MSD to be what? To be very careful in terms of their weight. And that's boiled down to what you eat daily. So we normally advise eat more fruit and vegetables, less starch, less meat, where you can eat fish, and reduce all your junks in terms of eating meat pie and all those donuts, sausages, and other ones. Then limit the limit the frying of your foods. That will actually help you control how big you become over time. Injuries, sport injuries basically also. Maybe some of us here are into sport, maybe football and basketball and some other sports. You can actually sustain injuries, musculoskeletal injuries, like maybe anterior cruciate ligament injury, posterior collateral, and all those injuries are the ones that are peculiar to the knee, the ones that are peculiar to the back, can actually result in over time musculoskeletal injuries. And if somebody now sustain an injury, maybe a fracture case now, affecting the lower limb, and the person didn't treat it well, goes to maybe a bone setter, eventually, if it's not well aligned, there's going to be a problem over time. That's a muscular disorder. And in fact, that can actually lead to that individual not being able to bear weight or even walk at the end of the day. So that's why injuries also can predispose one to muscular disorders afterwards. Yeah. Then repetitive stress injury. The way we do, yes, repetitive stress injury also is another problem that can actually result into you developing muscular disorder. How does that happen? The way you write in class as a student can actually predispose you to having muscular disorders. People, tailors, using a machine every now and then, trying to be on the laptop, typing every now and then, you start having pain, symptoms, discomfort in your fingers. That can actually result into having muscular disorders. Ergonomic-wise, poor working condition. The way maybe the kind of seat they give you, like if you look at bankers now, even telecom industries or computer analysts, we always advise them to get chairs that are ergonomically compliant, so that individual would not predispose himself or herself to muscular disorder later in life. And that can result into problem in the spine from neck downwards, which can be very, very disabling and can even lead to paralysis if it's not properly managed. So we also have work-related factors. I've mentioned that earlier, and I'm talking about the prolonged standing, maybe for soldiers or for looking at the last mile, they're always in standing position. They may later on start developing knee pain, even back pain, because of prolonged standing. Frequent lifting, weightlifters, that's a kind of sport, but can actually lead to musculoskeletal disorders that can limit that person from performing that activity later. People that carry load in the market, or some other ones, and even not necessarily load now. Even mere just sitting down for too long can actually predispose you to having lower back pain and even neck pain as well. So awkward posture as well. So that's why we normally advise young guys that when you're walking, don't walk stylishly, walk normally, so that you will not be predisposed to having abnormal posture, which can lead you to musculoskeletal disorders over time. And abnormal posture can also be from the way you use your phone when you're bending the neck. And that was what actually gave birth to Savitek, that app that we spoke about earlier. So job stress also can actually predispose you to poor diet, which I've mentioned, and also smoking. Next slide, please. So this is a diagram just trying to show us how abnormal posture is presented and the kind of load, the way you load your neck. That's the first picture there. The way you load your neck while using your smartphone. The first one says that you're normal because it needs to be upright. The moment you bend it slightly, you're overloading that neck, which can predispose you to having, that is forward posture, predicting you to now having pain in the neck over time. But it will just be coming little by little. It develops gradually, not suddenly. So you can say the third person now pronounce forward posture. In this case, now this person, if he's not careful, will come down with neck pain, which is called cervical spondylosis, and can now result into it radiating to the upper limb, even both upper limb or even just one unilateral. So basically, we don't advise it. This last posture, even the second one, is just a slight angle, but the last one, which is third one, is more pronounced forward posture, which will predispose that individual to can be having headache, can have problem with respiration, can have problem with back pain. You can see that it's already affecting the upper back, even shoulder pain. And my study also showed that this actually affects almost every shoulder, the neck, and the even upper back of an individual that uses smartphone abnormally. So you can see the second picture also showing us the figure 2 and 3, showing us the normal and abnormal way of the figure 2, showing us the normal and abnormal way of handling phone. Figure 3 shows all the skeletal position and all the areas that have been affected while you're assuming a very bad posture while using smartphone. And that figure 4 shows us how the stress you put on your cervical spine, that's the neck bone, while using smartphone. You can see the load, the way the pounds increases. The more you bend the neck, the more the load you put on the neck. And the load is so pronounced. You just think it's just bending, but the head will now be so heavy on the neck. And that's what predisposes that individual to musculoskeletal disorders over time. Next slide, please. So this is another diagram trying to show us the proper angulation that an individual using a laptop or a computer is supposed to be. You can see those angles. This is ergonomic standard, so that this person, if you're using a computer, especially among secretaries now, computer analysts, you will not develop musculoskeletal disorders. Those are the proper angulation. And the second one is trying to show us that you can even stand in between the work that you're doing while using your laptop. And the first one, that's the wrong one, is saying that you're tilting forward. The second one is saying that you're a little bit more relaxed and you can even stand up while using your laptop. The next slide, please. So what's the current landscape that we have? Normally, we know when people develop all these disorders that I've mentioned earlier, pain, disability, and co in the joints, the first place that they rush to is traditional stuff. Maybe just look for traditional healer. The next slide, please. Healer that can just quickly help them to cure it, or they use herbal medicine to see whether it can work, or they go to their pastors or their imams and see whether maybe there's something that can be done for prayer. And I gave an example here, like also even people who want to give birth, and they now go to traditional birth attendants, and as a result, at the end of the day, there will be complications. But for the musculoskeletal disorders, the people normally visit bone setters. We've seen many cases of many fracture cases that eventually got complicated because people didn't go to the right place, maybe an orthopedic surgeon or a physiotherapist to manage for them. And at the end of the day, it will now, even if it heals, excuse me, it will heal abnormally, and that will result in musculoskeletal disorders, whether abnormal posture, even the limb can even lead to amputation. Because if it's an open fracture and it didn't heal up well, it can actually amputate the limb. And aside from that, the individual may not now even be able to walk properly. And that's why it's been advised that when you have all these things, fracture cases, arthritis cases, it's better you visit the appropriate quarters, which is seeing a specialist experience in the management of it. Also, people can go to churches also for healing. Next slide, please. So what are the challenges that we face in Africa in terms of musculoskeletal health care? We have the shortage of healthcare professionals because of the issue of brain drain. Then, because it's just now that we're having many universities now starting physiotherapy programs. Though we know we have universities that have medical programs already, there are many. And specialty in orthopedics, I think for residency, they do it. They have many institutions also training doctors in residency for orthopedics. But for physiotherapy, we're just lucky now that we now have many schools now training, starting physiotherapy, and they're still coming up, even both private and public. They can train individuals in the aspect of physiotherapy profession so that they will know how to manage musculoskeletal disorders well. Then poor working condition, because the environment that you work in also matters a lot in terms of your own well-being, individual or even the patient's well-being. I mentioned some of them earlier. The way maybe your company didn't get you an economic chair while you're working maybe as a banker. That can actually result, and you sit down for too long, that individual can actually develop low back pain as a result, even neck pain as a result, depending on the kind of work you do. So we also have limited infrastructures that you don't not having enough equipment to be able to manage this kind of condition. Financial constraints, health insurance, fine, our government are trying at least to a level in terms of health insurance, but most of the patients that come to the hospital, they pay out of pocket. And this can actually limit people wanting to go to the hospital to seek better care. Then the background, educational background of an individual also can predispose that individual not to know where, when, and where to go at a particular time when the person actually develops this kind of condition. And even the kind of advice they can give their relatives or their friends when the person needs this attention of a musculoskeletal specialist. Next slide, please. So what's the digital healthcare practice in Africa? Normally, now at least, we are now in the era of everything digital. So digital health intervention are actually transforming healthcare now in terms of personalized and convenient, more tangible results, and it offers patients. Because now most people now move with their smartphones, so we can actually have different kind of solutions and products that individuals can make use of to help them in the management of the musculoskeletal. So in Africa, there are different digital health initiatives. Like we have the telemedicine platform, we have mobile health application, which allows remote consultation, and now AI is now coming up. AI-powered diagnostic enhances kind of detection test that even some individuals can do before they even visit the hospital. Next slide, please. So Savitech, which was the app I developed, is one of them because it's a mobile health application for the correction of abnormal posture of the neck and the treatment of spine pain. So we actually developed it because we realized that people using smartphone are predisposed to abnormal posture of the neck. And studies was done to confirm that, and we realized that we need to provide solution to this menace before it gets too bad. So there's AI diagnosis tools that can also be used. Then this one is In fact, many hospitals are now using it, electronic health record system. And this helps them to be able to get their health record instead of using paper, using file, folder, patient, where is the patient folder that they normally ask for? Everything is now being entered into a central system so that any patient, you will not be looking for their card when patient comes, unlike before that, if the card gets lost, the patient will not be attended to, or they now just open a temporary folder. Now the patient are the health workers, that's medical record, yes, officers, even doctors now, even nurses now, they've been trained in the way that they can enter patient data into the health record system on the PC, which makes it so easier. And I think it's being stored in the cloud, and it makes their work to be smooth, patient information to be kept in a safe place rather than just in a cupboard or something like that. Next slide, please. So the other ones, which are the benefits now of digital health for muscular care, it helps in the improvement of accessibility, especially for those in remote areas. If you have your smartphone and you think maybe you don't have maybe enough funds to be able to travel down to the hospital, then you can actually get a kind of consultation on your phone using the telemedicine platform. And if you need now comes that you need to now visit the hospital, then you can now visit. It's so easy now that you can consult a specialist on your phone via a mobile app application or a telemedicine platform. There's also personalized treatment. It allows patients to be able to treat themselves well, which we actually incorporated into Servitech. It gives you personalized, tailored standard exercises for you, which are evidence-based, and it allows you to be able to manage your pain and disability over time. It's only when you now have concern, you can now even still use the telemedicine platform to consult the doctor, rather than say you still want to visit your hospital. Because if you look at the stress of going down to the physiotherapy clinic and look at the fact that you're going to be given long-term appointment after one session, then why not embrace telehealth or mobile health application that will allow you to have self-manage yourself before you now say, okay, it's only when you're now feeling you're not improving, you can now do otherwise. Also, it increases adherence. Unlike before that, while patients have been seen in the hospital or even in the physiotherapy clinic, and they're being given home exercises because they're giving them maybe, instead of giving them twice in a week, they give them maybe once in a week because of the population of patients that they see at the time, and because of the workload and shortage of staffs, because we can't really blame them also in terms of that. Patients now have the opportunity to stay on the app, do whatever exercise they've been prescribed, or even consult a doctor or a physiotherapist via telehealth platform. And as a result of that, you'll be able to maintain adherence in that patient, and patient also will have more relief and have confidence that they're having they are getting better management while using digital health. Next slide, please. It's also cost effective. It allows reduction of healthcare costs in terms of you not boarding a bus or using your petrol, which is expensive now, to get to the clinic. You're not also using paying at the clinic, and you now be giving maybe just one or twice treatment, instead of being given maybe twice in a week treatment, you're giving maybe once in a week. On the telemedicine platform or your mobile application, you get continuous treatment as the regimen has been prescribed in your platform, the platform that you have on your phone. It also enhances patient outcome, which improves pain, level of disability, and quality of life. And studies have shown that. One of the studies that I did, I will show you later in the coming slide, showed that telehealth, the mobile application, the Servitech, is very effective in the reduction of pain and disability in patients having forwarded posture with symptoms of spine pain. It's also data-driven. There's also data-driven insights for informed decision. It allows healthcare professionals to be able to have the data at once, gather social demographic variables of individuals, gather the symptoms that the patient present with at once, maybe using the Google form, or even maybe there's a platform inbuilt also inside the mobile app or the telemedicine platform that allows you to have those data without you putting them inside paper. Because the new app I'm developing now allows that for you to be able to access yourself pre and post management. It's also convenient for individuals to use. Next slide, please. So, what are the interventions? I've mentioned, I've talked a little bit about all these. We have the mobile health application, we have the wearable devices, which can be one, and we have the telehealth platform that can be used. And a lot of telehealth platform now springing up, some already in existence in Nigeria, in other African countries as well. And it's been very, very useful with all those benefits that they give to patients. Next slide, please. So you can see that's the second app I'm developing currently, and we're almost done. We're going to start in the demo very soon. And that's spinal relief. It helps in the relief of lower back pain, unlike Savitec that does for the neck pain and upper part of the spine. You can see the telemedicine platform. An example is a Sword Health. I think it's based in Ghana, and it's being used for virtual consultation, remote monitoring of patients for specialized care. It reduces wait time and long distance traveling. So we have wearable devices. One is called Inch Health, and the other one is Dario, and it's also based in Africa. It actually offers valuable insight for diagnosis and treatment with the use of sensors and wearable to track posture and also muscle activities of an individual. And they are actually physiotherapy apps also and wearable devices. Next slide, please. So this is one of the studies that I mentioned earlier that revealed the efficacy of smartphone application, and this study shows the effectiveness of Savitec. You can find it on Google Scholar. It's on Google. Just type in the title, and it will bring it out for you. You can read about it if you're interested. Another one was done on the effectiveness of telehealth-based and clinical-based core stabilization exercise. This exercise actually have been compared with many other physiotherapy interventions and exercises, and it is proven to be very effective in the management of patients with non-specific chronic low back pain. And this is a long-standing low back pain that I mentioned earlier when I started this webinar, that it's about 80% of individuals experience it in a lifetime. And it's been proven, tested, that is very effective. And those are my studies. You can also see findings on Google Scholar. And it's proven, I've compared with so many other exercises. And it's very proven that it's really proven that it's very effective. Next slide, please. This is another study by one of our colleagues, and also it's a it developed an animated cartoon-based self-care application in the management of low back pain. It actually compared two exercises. One exercise is here, and it has compared that exercise with other intervention in physiotherapy, and it's been proven that it's very effective. What are the strategies? Okay, so is this the next slide, please? So how do we strategies for implementing digital health in Africa? The key strategies are to develop context-specific solution, and that's the designing. That means we are going to be designing intervention that address African specific, that is musculoskeletal conditions or disorders specific to our needs, not to the needs of people in the diaspora. And that's why it's very important now, and there are good cases is actually going on around, and people are actually innovating a lot to find solution, home-based solution that is African for Africans, taking into consideration the cultural, linguistic, and social demographic factors. Because looking at the way AI is now, we need to train AI to be able to what? Tailor our management using our own language. If there's any platform that want to incorporate that into consideration. Because if you're using the English language, what of the Yoruba, what of Igbo, what of the pigeon? How do we incorporate? And I think one of the students in Unilag is actually doing something like that. It is, Yan GPT or something like that, that one can actually incorporate in one platform. So the technology use of smartphone also to deliver interventions is one of the strategies that we're making use of now in Africa. And that's what Savitech also used. Okay, next slide, please. Integrating with existing healthcare system also is very important so that there will be seamless integration and referral pathways. Even using the telehealth platform is also easier to connect consultant, connect specialists to patient via app, via telemedicine platform, rather than just telling the patient that, okay, go and visit this person. You get to the person is busy, or the person is even not available. But just giving a call and chat, using even WhatsApp, can actually go a long way to help our patient in the tele-based format. So training healthcare professionals is also very important in this area now. So the lot, I think we should encourage capacity building programs for people to learn a little more about tech and digital healthcare in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. So also engaging patient and community in the design and implementation of intervention to ensure accessibility and adoption. Because if you just design an app and you didn't incorporate people that are going to use it into it, it's not likely that app will be accepted in the society. Likewise, telehealth platform. So before you do it, it's better you may carry out a pilot study to be able to know that is market fits, a market user experience, to know whether people will even be willing to use the app or the telehealth platform before you even just make use of it. That's the engagement of patient. The infrastructure challenges you also need while you're building your app or building your anything digital for patients in Africa. It is good for you to take note of the problems that we face in terms of internet connectivity and also power outage. Because that was what it was incorporated in Savitech, that we actually made the exercises available offline on the app, right on the app, as long as you have downloaded the app on your phone. And makes it so easy for people to use it without using the internet. And it's also power saving. It doesn't make too much of your battery while you're using it. You also monitor and evaluate interventions while using some of the mobile health application, because this ensures effectiveness. Because if you're not evaluating it, how will you know whether the patient is actually improving while using it or not? And that allows for you maybe to incorporate some form of outcome measures while using it. Next slide, please. So what do you consider doing implementation? We have to consider the regulatory framework, because we have local regulatory frameworks and guidelines. There's some of certification that you have to do before you can start using Savitech or even any digital health platforms. So data security, you need to consider the security of your patient in terms of the data. Confidentiality is also very important. Accessibility and affordability. Is it on Play Store? Is it on App Store? Make sure that you have them in almost all the platforms so that at least people can have access to it easily. Partnership and collaboration. We need to try and collaborate with local organizations, government, for implementation and sustainability of it. Next slide, please. So what are the challenges and the opportunities? We already mentioned earlier, we have infrastructure problems. Maybe the platform, there's some cloud issues that it's everything in the diaspora that we have to make use of to store our data. Internet issue, but it's improving gradually. Digital literacy, that some people don't even understand how to use smartphone, not talk of now saying they have to use app. So the regulatory framework that I mentioned earlier, certifications and is also very important. The opportunities, we need to innovate. We need to ideate. We need to bring up ideas so that we can develop products that are in Africa and for Africans. Partnership is also very important. We need to encourage partnership with other healthcare professionals so that they will key into what we are doing and they will be able to assist And also, so that if you want to onboard them into your app in terms of consultation and partnership for patients to be able to consult them, it will be good for them. So in conclusion, assessing musculoskeletal health in Africa is actually in that by a lot of challenges which we mentioned earlier, and this should be a call for action for stakeholders, policymakers, healthcare providers, researchers, innovators, startup founders, by ensuring the populace have access to quality healthcare, even remotely. So digital musculoskeletal health solution will really assist in bridging this gap by the provision of point-of-care mobile health application and medical devices to help in alleviating the problem of accessibility to healthcare, even in the remote areas, with qualified manpower. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Achiat Akodu, for your time and for taking out all of the effort to be here with us today. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much, and we'll definitely pay you a visit very soon. All right, you all to have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. So, hello everyone, and we have a couple of other interesting lineups for today. We have Mark from Cerebrum DAO. We still have Amzat Temiloluwa. We have Vincent Chalet from Spine DAO. We have Dr. Omolewa Adedipe from Athena DAO. So yes, I understand that the paper presentations are supposed to have gone on, but all of the glitches we experienced were part of the reasons why there were a little bit delay in timing. And without much ado, I would like to bring Mark on stage as we go into brains helping brains, how decentralized communities are accelerating brain health. So over to you, Mark. So if you have a presentation, you could present as well.
Oh, thank you. Should I present from my computer? So thanks so much for inviting me to be here. We're really interested to share more about what we're doing at Cerebrum DAO. I'll just share a presentation, think through my screen. And I hope this works well. So I hope everyone can see my screen well. My name is Mark Melnikovich. I'm coming from Cerebrum DAO. We envision a world with only healthy brains. So we're trying to tackle a very large problem, which is neurodegeneration. And we start this by thinking about how we can also make neurodegeneration topics accessible to people throughout the world. Because we don't want to be a siloed organization where people can't access or can't understand exactly what we're doing. And that's always a challenge with advanced scientific topics. And one of the easiest ways to do this is to introduce a concept and remind people that every brain is unique. It develops differently depending on how you were born, how you evolved, basically everything that you interact with throughout your world is going into the training and the development of your brain. And these lifestyle factors do have an impact alongside the more advanced medical factors. So one of the things that we really want to do to make brain health accessible is the topic of brain health journeys and helping people understand the natural way of brain aging and how we're trying to prevent neurodegeneration through different interventions. Now, an intervention could be something as simple as having vigorous exercise to increase BDNF in the brain, or it could be as advanced as taking a drug, which is having a protein inhibitor, which is preventing neurodegeneration. So we're looking at tackling this topic of neurodegeneration from different levels. One, through translational neuroscience projects. So really funding deep tech projects, which are looking at things like new proteins, new ways to inhibit proteins that might lead to neurodegeneration, and creating spin-offs and companies which can then scale those solutions. The other part, and this is where I work at, is in the product development for the Cortex app and the Cognition web store, and also for our upcoming AI agent. And these are the consumer-facing products where we see that we can make everything accessible for people. They can really be interacting with their brain journey and affecting it over the course of their life. With translational neuroscience, we've picked the 3 different areas where we believe that we can make an impact as an organization: neuroinflammation, blood-brain barrier dysfunction, and looking at metabolic dysfunction with mitochondrial dysfunction. Because these are things which are really hot topics in the research field, and we want to accelerate different projects with the funding that we can provide as a DAO. Now, over the past year or so, where Cerebrum has really been active in the space after we did our token launch, we funded approximately 1.3 million in investment into different projects. We've evaluated over 100 different projects, and we still have a treasury of a couple million, which we're looking to mobilize in the best possible way to solve neurodegeneration. Our projects go through a evaluation process, so researchers from anywhere in the world can apply. We talk to the researchers, we understand their project, and then we see how it fits into what we can fund at this point in time, and also what's the outlook, right? Because we want to have research which really translates into companies and products and medications. So for us, it's most important to understand if our funding we can give right now is going to have a big impact, and then how that is going to really grow after the results of the trials. So some of the first IPT projects that we did with intellectual property tokens were Percepta, which focuses on neuroinflammation as a supplement, so it's a non-medical product. Fission Bio, which looks at mitochondrial dysfunction, and also the Transfidelity project, which is looking at protein stability. These are all going on. Percepta, we're working to close the IRB for our human clinical trial. And with both Fission Bio and Transfidelity, they've gone through the first phase of their in vitro evaluation and looking at new targets and basically looking at how we can then scale that into the next phase. We also just launched a IPT project, Neuron Gale, on the new Bio Launch platform. This is looking at a galectin-3, which is basically a protein which is regulating neuroinflammation. So we're looking at ways to inhibit neuroinflammation. It's still at the early stages. It's still in a mouse model for Alzheimer's disease, but using the funding to prove the results in the mouse model, we would then look to scale it. The other IPT project, well, actually an agent project that we're looking to bring out relatively soon is Cerebrain. And this is a brain coach and brain research agent, which will be launched on the platform. And alongside funding of the projects, we also look to communicate about them. So we work with Molecule Labs to bring data on chain as results come out of these projects, so that we can also be open and really hope to share as much information as possible so that other researchers and other people can also benefit from the knowledge that we're generating in the DAO. Now, coming back to accessibility, right? Not everyone is going to be researching proteins in the laboratory. I don't myself, but I do work on product development. So we're working on developing these products which are really human, like accessible for everyone through mobile technologies. The Cortex and Cognition app and store are really there to give utility to the neuron token, the governance token of the DAO, bring access to interventions through different products. And then we're developing Cerebrae as a brain coach together with Exponetic, a partner company, to manage the lifestyle factors that can lead to aspects of neurodegeneration and changes in the brain over time. So I believe this will make it everything accessible for people, whether they're a researcher or not. Because the more knowledge that we give to people, giving them the ability to understand how their brain is changing over the course of their life, I believe is extremely valuable because it's something we can't do easily. Right now, we have to go to an MRI machine or do advanced neuroimaging to understand how our brain is changing. And it's super valuable. But with mobile apps, which are using cognitive assessments, and by bringing interventions through a store, we can help people to understand how to affect and improve their brain health over the course of their life. Exponetic, in particular, is a mobile app which will help people understand how to focus and manage their lifestyle choices better. And then you see the impact through brain health assessments that you take about every 3 months using Exponetic Premium. And Percepta is one example of a supplement that we can bring out to help affect. So we really want to see then how people can understand what lifestyle factors that they change and how they're affecting their brain health, which is a really exciting part of the ecosystem. And once we start to build this flywheel or loop, as we call it, we'll have data coming in about brain health into the Cerebrum ecosystem. We'll be able to use AI with our science agent, for example, to understand what interventions are working best for which people or which population type. And this type of foundational brain health model, I believe, is going to be a very valuable output of our activities at the DAO because it's going to be inclusive, it's going to be adaptable to different people, cultures, and basically regions throughout the world. And I think it's going to give something to the world, which is really going to help people understand and make brain health accessible. And in more of a technical standpoint, the architecture of Cerebrae really looks to build the knowledge graph about brain health that we're developing from our IPT projects and also from the consumer products that we're bringing out. Because this is really the most valuable output, I feel, of any DAO, is the knowledge that you generate and create. Because this is what you can use to build new interventions, build new research strategies, and also make it accessible, right, throughout different regions of the world. The scientist agent in particular, we're going to design it to be optimized for understanding neurodegeneration and brain health, really be optimized for understanding the study results, interactions with the researchers and the translational neuroscience team that we have at Cerebrum, so that we can also use that to better identify what we should be researching right now and where we should be putting our funding to get the best possible outcome. Because everything that we do, it's always a balance of understanding what we can do with our resources as a DAO and how we can empower other researchers to solve neurodegeneration. And with the coach agent, which will be helping people, this will be something people can actually interact with in a mobile device. It will include wearables integration, so we can understand basically how your brain is changing on a daily, weekly basis. And we're basically building different layers of data. The wearables daily data, the health assessment or cognitive assessment as a 3-month assessment. And then we look to bring this into a real world study platform so we can better do POCs in a decentralized way. Because this is one of the difficult things with brain research. If we centralize everything into research studies which happen at discrete places in the world, it's more difficult to get this wide understanding of how different brains across the world are being affected by different interventions. So I'm really hopeful that this is going to have a big impact on the world. It's going to take a long time to build, but we're going through it step by step. We have a really great team, which is also coming throughout the world. And we also work with a lot of people like Scott, who has been on the Cerebrum product team for a while. And we're really looking to expand not just our different product groups, but also have more interventions in our core team with people who have a deep background in neuroscience, but also aspects of pharma development and community development. So we do outreach as well through different events. So again, I was very happy to be here because I wanted to make more contacts through the world and basically see how we can work together to solve these problems, or how we can have collaborations going cross borders to basically, yeah, make neuroscience more accessible. So thank you very much. It was really great to be here and to share our journey of Cerebrum DAO. And if you're interested to join, feel free to jump on our Discord, interact with us, and I hope we can help expand solutions for neurodegeneration together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark, for your session and presentation. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. So if you are interested, go to Cerebrum DAO on X and enjoy and do all that you would have with all of the information that will be available. Also, it's important to note that the waitlist for the Cortex app is live on the Cerebrum DAO's website. So you can as well go to cerebrumdao.bio and fill in to be part of the first set of persons to get early access into the waitlist, as well as other ecosystem products that are coming. You can see from the presentation, there's Cortex, there's Cognition, there's Cerebri, and all of that. So all of these platforms are interconnected, and they are actually, discounts associated with being on one or all of these platforms. So it's an ecosystem product. So you could improve your brain health and have a more interesting, longer life. So thank you so much, Mark, and really appreciate your time. All right, so we'll be moving next to Athena DAO. We have Dr. Omolewa Adedipe, and she would be presenting on how blockchain is revolutionizing reproductive health and Athena DAO's role in it. Currently, I can see she is in the studio. I would want to confirm if she can hear me. Hi, Dr. Omolewa.
Hi, Scott. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Happy to be
All
here.
right. Okay, so let's get your slides up. All right. So you can proceed.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Omolewa, like he said, and I'm a member of the Science and Deal Flow Work Group for Athena DAO, and I'm here to simply talk about Athena DAO and how we are improving reproductive health through our work. Can we move to the next slide, please? So a little bit about me. I'm a medical doctor by training, and my work kind of revolves around research, women's health, and tech and AI. I currently work as one of the Science and Deal Flow work group members in Athena DAO, and I also co-lead Ilia Collective. Ilia Collective focuses on women's health, particularly hormonal health disorders, and provides support and care coordination for women with conditions like PCOS and endometriosis. I also currently lead tech and operations at JSPACS, a tech consulting group. So yeah, that's all about me. Can we move to the next slide, please? All right. So Athena DAO basically is focused on bridging the gap in funding for women's health R&D. And basically, the challenge is that women's health R&D is in a literal valley of death, like we like to say in the DAO. And the point is that when people are trying to fund women's health, it's divided into two categories majorly: femtech and biotech. And femtech focuses on apps, e-commerce, medtech, medcare, and basically these kind of products or companies have shorter timelines of production right? And when people want to fund, they either look at funding for shorter timelines or for the longer timelines, where you have drugs, therapeutics, diagnostics, and the broader part of biotech. However, women's health requires prolonged research and research in different stages, right? And when we need to find new solutions for women's health problems, you require next stage development, and there is a gap of funding there. That is the literal valley of death where women's health R&D is located, and this is the vertical that Athena DAO is trying to bridge. Women's health um, is a bridge between femtech and biotech. Come to the next slide, thanks. Yes, so there is a huge missed opportunity gap for women's health. And according to the New York Times, menopause is a $600 billion opportunity. And this is menopause alone, right? There is a lot of gap in research, science, and even treatment for women in the menopausal age group. And this also applies to several other things like fertility. Fertility is a large economic opportunity as well that is lying literally fallow. And the other chart here shows up startup funding by subcategory, and this is data from Healthspan Capital. And from this, you can see that women's health has low funding, and there is a large opportunity gap for women's health, especially reproductive health. Reproductive health has the second to the least amount of funding, total funding amount, compared to things like regenerative medicine and longevity medicine. Reproductive health is poorly funded. Next slide, please. Yeah, like I said, there's a huge market size. The women's health sector is gaining momentum, and there is more attention on women's health now. However, there is still a gap that needs to be filled. So the value of the women's health market currently, as at 2023, is $66 billion, and we've noted a 55% growth in VC investment in women's health, at least in the past year. And more VC companies are focusing on women's health funding. There's been 3 times increase in the amount of money that has been invested in women's health between 2019 and 2024, and it has been successful as well. It hasn't just been more focused, there has been more success. There have been 35 successful exits in the past 5 years, 4 IPOs and 31 mergers. This is like good indication that the women's health market size is indeed ready for development. Next slide, please. So what does Athena DAO do? Athena DAO's focus is to be a community-driven platform that enables translational and women's health research and development, education, and funding. So we have a multi-focused approach where we focus on scientists, researchers, and try to support research and development. We also support the collection and processing of clinical data, and we fund women's health research as well. We also provide education through, majorly through our social media platform on Instagram, education in a way that regular people, women, can understand new science and how it affects them. But the major goal of everything that we're doing is to fund, support, and advocate for new treatment options for women across all areas: PCOS, reproductive health, menopause care, and so forth. Next slide. So how do we do what we do? We develop scientific assets in women's health. What is very important to every DAO that focuses on science and discovery is to ensure that we push out as many scientific assets as possible. And Athena DAO is a community of women who are affected by the women's health challenges that we're hoping to address, researchers who are working in these areas, funders as well who are willing to fund research in women's health, And we also are a capital engine looking out to fund and support promising women's health research. So our day to day is more like doing scientific due diligence. We constantly have a pipeline of projects that we do scientific due diligence for. We have a team of doctors, researchers, and scientists that carry out due diligence. And based on our due diligence, we tokenize and fund research with the biggest translational potential. So based on science and industry approved facts, we select research with the biggest translational potential, and then we tokenize and fund this project. We also support lab spin-outs. We've partnered with, as you'll see in coming slides, we've partnered with labs from universities like Harvard to support women's health research further. And then we have successfully built an end-to-end ecosystem at the intersection of academia, biotech, research, and this has been made possible because of our rich network and how diverse our team is. So we built an end-to-end ecosystem that is at the intersection of academia, biotech, and femtech. And our goal is to advance women's health funding. Next slide. Yes, we have a track record of reviewing over 400 scientific projects, including from University of Oxford, from Stanford, from Cornell University. We also have team members that are researchers in Harvard, and we have been able to have 5 successful research cohorts on ovarian longevity, PCOS and endometriosis, gynecologic cancers, reproductive technology, and also women's health data. We have $1.5 million plus funded in deal flow assets, and we have currently 6 labs that we are currently funding. We're supporting 3 preprints that are still in active development, and we have 2 startups that are supported by the DAO as well. We have a scientific team, a robust scientific team that comprises research fellows, postdoc researchers, molecular biologists, entrepreneurs, professors, clinicians, medical doctors, and PhD doctors, as well as data scientists and pharmacology researchers as well. And our team is affiliated with a lot of organizations, including Harvard, Stanford, Vanderbilt, Oxford, Yale, and all the others that you can see on the screen. We've been featured on USA Today, Nature, Forbes, Time, and Femtech News, and we've been featured through the projects that we've funded and projects that are being carried out by members of the Athena DAO. And Athena DAO members include the Science and Deal Flow, the Science and Deal Flow team members, and we also have co-leads in person of Anel, Ines, Maya, and Ines. And we are led by Laura. Laura is a longevity advocate and entrepreneur who has been in the longevity space for over a decade, and she has a passion for advancing women's health research and funding women's health research. And we're also led by Ines, Estefano, and Victoria. They're both experienced in women's health and in entrepreneurship and research. Yeah, so we have interesting assets in our transitional development pipeline, and I will just be talking about a couple of them. So we're currently working with Dr. Cordero at, I can't pronounce this university, but it's on the screen. And we're working with Dr. Cordero on understanding the role of SIGA-STING pathway and senescence in the ovarian aging. It's basically a project that focuses on ovarian aging reversal, and we are currently working on validating this project, and it's currently actively in development. We're also working with Dr. Joshua Johnson at the University of Colorado on targeting the ISR to enhance ovarian follicle survival and growth. Again, this project is focused on ovarian longevity and it's directly targeted at reproductive health to ensure that women can have their ovarian reserves extended for as long as possible. And we're currently at the validation stage for this project. And one of our very good projects is also with Gero AI. Gero AI is also working on ovarian longevity acceleration as well. And we've had a lot of great updates from all of these active projects and some that are not currently presented on this side on these slides. Um, so I'm going to be talking a bit more about Mario's project. So, like I said, Mario's project is focused on understanding the role of the SIGA's think pathway on ovarian aging. And we've been able to, from Codero's lab, our last updates have been a successful in vivo validation of the theories testing, and we've been able to hit several of our milestones ahead of schedule. And it's really exciting to find that Mario has secured more follow-on funding in addition to Athena DAO's funding um, since it started. And we have other details on the success of Mario's work. His lab has identified a hit compound with excellent inhibition, and this if this is successful, it can actually prevent and slow down ovarian aging to a very large extent. And the lead compound A2, that's the heat compound that Mario's lab is currently testing, has been sent for pharmacokinetic profiling, and it shows a lot of promise. And we're hoping that this will be in the market very shortly for public use. Um, yeah, so I'm also going to be talking about another project that we are working on, which is a platform to screen new menopause targets. And this is currently being worked on by Peter. He is the co-founder of Gero AI. So Gero AI focuses on identification of up to 10 novel targets for ovarian aging and trying to see how these targets can be modified to extend ovarian longevity. So Jira is testing multiple machine learning approaches to ensure that we can achieve the highest accuracy at menopause prediction. And Jira's model is far more interpretable than comparable models, and we are able to find insights from Jerry AI's project, and it shows a lot of promise as well. So our first successful spin out is Life Ahead, and Life Ahead is basically a platform that focuses squarely on fertility, and Life Ahead focuses on forecasting ovarian lifespan for families so that um, individuals can understand their ovarian lifespan and use that to um, achieve precise family planning. So it's a mathematical model that uses data points that are already available at fertility clinics to help individuals, doctors, clinicians, and families to predict their patterns of follicle loss and ovarian decline. So basically, it's forecasting menopause before it happens and allowing individuals to more control and information to plan their family life ahead. So the latest updates from Life Ahead include an exclusive worldwide license that has been finalized with the University of Colorado, and they're also in talks with the FDA to validate this project, and an MVP has been designed, and there's been direct clinician input rather in the testing of this MVP, and the testing has shown positive results. It has shown that this model is has a strong usability and interoperability index, and clinicians are finding it easy to use and give feedback on. So it looks really promising, and would expecting that this is workable and usable for the general public very soon. So we're always field building in Athena DAO, and we focus on end-to-end network and field building. These are some of our numbers. As of our last review, we had 35,000 members. And like I said, our members span many different categories of researchers, founders, technologists, investors, and the women who are affected by the health challenges that we're hoping to solve. And across all our social media platforms, we've had 15 million online impressions, and we've had a lot of events, 80 in person community events connecting researchers, founders, scientists, and investors. And we've also rolled out 25 student fellowships. And we've had 2 in person scientific meetings and several other online community events as well. We have published 3 reports, and we have other publications in the pipeline. Our first report was on reproductive biology, and our second was on endometriosis, and we also have a report on unexplored cancers as well. If you'd like to join Athena DAO, you can please use scan the barcode to find information on joining the Discord community. Would be looking forward to having people join us, and we also, like I said, fund research. So if anyone is interested in speaking to us about a potential research idea or project to be funded, you can send a mail to the email on the screen. But to join the community and also find out more about Athena DAO, you can please scan the barcode and find further information. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Omolewa Adedipe from Athena DAO. We really appreciate you and your time. Thank you for taking our time to present what Athena DAO has been doing amazingly over the past 3 to 4 years. And yep, so thank you so much. And please do also enjoy your weekend. We will be in touch. All right, so just a quick announcement for anybody that is viewing our stream either on X or on YouTube. Please do well to follow us on X and do well to just click the subscribe button on YouTube, because tomorrow would also be going live, but it's going to be a physical event at the University of Lagos, Faculty of Social Sciences. Unilag Design Studio is the venue at the Faculty of Social Sciences. To just give a point of information, we have 2 Unilag Design Studio at the University of Lagos. There's one at the Faculty of Engineering, and there's another one at the Faculty of Social Sciences. The one at the Faculty of Social Sciences is the venue. So please do not miss your way. We would be waiting to meet all of the wonderful over 500 persons that are joined us live. We would be waiting to receive you physically. Thank you so much, Dr. Omolewa, once again for your session. And up next, we would be going to one of the leading organizations when it comes to decentralized research. And this session would be taken by Timlolua Amzat, and it would be facilitating on tooling for scaling research and publishing for scientists. So this is Amzat Timlolua, Marketing Associate at the Research Hub Foundation. So welcome, Amzat, and I think you can present your slides.
I'm not sure how this works, but can everybody see and hear me?
Don't worry, I'm with you.
Because I got a notification that everybody that I'm in the show, but I don't know how this works. I would like feedback, please. I definitely cannot do this without feedback.
Don't worry, you are live, and we all can see and hear you. So please just present your screen so we take it up from there. All right.
All right. Give me a few minutes to share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, hi everyone. My name is Timnulu Amzat. I don't know if the moderator introduced me before, but in case he did, or whether or not he did, I'll do a short introduction of myself. So my name is Timnulu Amzat. Like I said, like the flyer says, I do marketing for the Researcher Foundation. So for as many of us are not familiar with the Researcher Foundation is basically, an entity that is trying to realign incentives in science, basically through peer reviews, through its funding feature, through the end feature on the platform. We do all of this on one platform, basically, where scientists get paid for collaborating and sharing cool scientific content. But I'm not yet to talk about Research Hub. So if you want to do, a deeper dive into what we are, what we do, you're welcome to go to researchhub.com. That's www.researchhub.com to have a look at platform and what we've been able to build. So moving into why we're here today. I've been invited here to speak today, or basically to make a presentation on a topic that really aligns with what I've been doing for the past 2 years at Research Hub. But whatever we're speaking on today, I'll try to be as neutral as possible. Yeah. So the topic I was supposed to speak on is tooling for scaling research and publishing for scientists. A quick note, right? In my slides, I basically just rounded off my slides about a few minutes ago, right? Because it's currently about 3:45 where I am, 3:45 a.m. Yeah, I'm in SF here for our annual science conference, our Research Hub, SciCon. So I'm afraid I'm not able to communicate, or what I would have loved to communicate through my slides, but I did try to put the basics down, so basically the way I look at it that will make this presentation is to let us know, why even, the need for tools, innovative tools as scientists to help us scale research and publishing. I'll give context into what scaling research and publishing would be, and these tools that would that can actually help scientists scale the research that they do and what they publish. Right. So I made a little note here like about modern science. Modern science is no longer limited by knowledge, it's limited by workflow, right? So in the science that we do today, right, there's a lot of knowledge out there, but how many of this knowledge has been translated into commercializable products or translational science? Not so many much, and this is because of the friction in the workflows between the generation of these ideas and then being put into market. But I'll give more context as I move forward. So just stay with me. Moving to the next slide. All right, so I guess the next thing that will make sense for me to do would be to give context on what scaling research should mean, right? I mean, what would it mean to scale research? So layman definition, what does it mean to scale anything? It basically means to produce more outputs. How do you get these outputs? Doesn't really matter, but the end result, getting more outputs either by with like through processes that have less friction, or like putting in more inputs. Basically, we have research helping getting research to a place where there is more output is what scaling research is all about. So basically, I just call it the process of doing more, right? So to scale research, basically, it could involve anything or any tweaks in the science process that could involve like any switch in the process that results in more experiments being done, more papers being published, more reviews being done, more collaborative science, getting more funding for research, and more commercialization, right? Maybe products or whatever that are born out of the science that is being done. So
That's what I understand. The process of scaling research. What I would imagine the process of scaling research should be. All right. So yeah. So for context on how research has scaled, science has scaled in the past years. Obviously, science has been the crux of human evolution, right? And science and academic publishing has been very much core of our democratic society. But yeah, we can have a look at this timeline to see if. So at the end of this, what I want to achieve, looking at this timeline, is to actually see if research has scaled, science has scaled. That is, yes, obviously it has evolved, but has it actually caught up? Has it actually scaled? So yeah, looking at this timeline, research, handwritten research and publication. The first records of research being done was as far back as the 15th century. That's when we had handwritten literature, right? Scrolls. The Egyptians probably started this through the library at Alexandria. The benefits, that is what we saw in science, the improvements in science. Where, okay, this was the very first form of disseminating and preserving knowledge, in science, that recorded preservation of cultural heritage. But then obviously this was like the very first iteration, so there were gaps. The fact that there were limited copies of production, like to circulate this knowledge, the high cost of producing and disseminating this knowledge, as well as the restricted accessibility. Right, obviously not everybody could access this. Only the scholarly people could access like these works, right? And as well as no review process. Okay, once this person was known to be a scholar, anything he published was, there was literally no review process. And then moving on to the 15th century, when the printing press, I think this was a major turning point in scientific research, and when the foundation of modern scientific communication was actually laid, right? This was when we started having the first written publications. Now science was being done faster, it was being communicated, wider, right? But then this period of time, knowledge was still being distributed, was still being censored, right? Anything that was against the church was literally outrightly banned. Yeah, so I just got a notification that I'll just say about 8 minutes more. So I'll try to move this faster. So basically, this is a quick timeline of how academic research and publishing has evolved over time, right? So the emergence of the very first scientific societies that introduced the first form of peer review, the early preprint journals, the early preprint journals that introduced the impact factor, even though they were plagued by these slow, expensive publication processes and distribution, networks that you have to subscribe to. So basically, not everybody had access to research and scientific communication. And then, yeah, the almighty digital journals came into play, the Elsevier's, the Nature's, right? So now this was the very first step towards global access and, faster dissemination of scientific knowledge, as well as the first actual, eternal archival of scientific works, right? But then there were the paywalls, the high subscription fees, as well as the monopoly. But we are not going to focus on this. And then, yes, started seeing actual innovation, right? In the 2000s, when the open access movements began, free and open access to research. But then APCs were high, quality were varied, and all of that. And then preprint repositories in the 2010s, and then even we are now seeing way more decentralized forms of publishing today. So this timeline is supposed to just give us a quick look at how academic research and publishing has evolved. But then the question actually is now, yes, obviously, as with anything, as with any technology, as with any industry, academic research and publishing has evolved, but has it scaled? Now let's have a look to answer that question. So this is like what I imagine would be the flow on paper of how modern science is supposed to be done, right? Let's not, as we move forward, I would have a look at how efficient this is. But basically, as a scientist, I would assume you come up with an idea, you create a proposal to communicate how you want your methods and how you want this proposal to be funded. You get some kind of funding, you use your funding to, experiment, to run your actual experiment and your first lab work. You communicate you draft your first literature, right, to communicate your processes and your results and everything. And then you submit it to these journals or wherever you want to post, maybe print servers for review. Hopefully it passes the review process and it gets published. So you can either stop here or you go back into the loop, to get more funding, and this funding is get towards commercialization or whatever. But for any of us that have been doing actual science, recently, you would find out that this is not always the case. It's not just this smooth flow. Instead, it's like a bottleneck funnel, right? Where hopefully your work is able to actually go through the funnel without being, sieved out by, it's not being sieved out by expensive, access. Journals today charge. If the top journals, if you want your work published in top journal with a very high impact factor, you are going to be paying. It's going to set you back APCs in about $8,000 to $12,000 per article. Obviously, that's expensive. It reduces access to scientists who cannot afford this. Obviously, then let's not even talk about the problems of like slow or reliable peer review, where peer review takes 45 to 90 days. Basically, all wrapped up into slow, inefficient publication processes, right? As well as funding problems. I will not be able to go deep down as much as I'm quite passionate about this bottlenecks. Will not be able to go into this in depth since I just have about 2 minutes more. But basically, modern science today is like a funnel that literally filters out a lot of science, and what is being filtered out is also some of them are actually really good science that will actually never see the light of day because of this bottlenecks. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to dwell too much on the problems as much as I am quite passionate about that. But instead, let's just talk about solutions, and I am going to localize the solutions to we as scientists instead of focus on all of these institutional problems, right? So, but before we can speak on the solutions that we can embrace as scientists, let's still take one last look at the problems, right? As we are scientists, where does the most inefficiency come from? Where do we lose time? Where do we lose money in the whole scientific process, right? So where we have the most influence on would be, and where we encounter the most problems would be time and money lost to, intensive reading, manual data workflows, like I've listed there, formatting papers, waiting on reviewers, all those manual work. Let's not talking about the institutional problems, right? The process of applying for funding. If we want to scale the research that we are doing, not focusing on the institutional problems that might and the institutional bottlenecks. This solution, in my mind, would be to embrace and accommodate better tooling. And by tooling, I mean any form of digital system that would help you as a scientist, as a researcher, to automate, accelerate, and organize your research. Right. So I think this is the last slide here, but basically it's just a summary of the kind of tools that we as scientists should be looking to embrace to help scale and do faster, better science. First, the example and the kind of the category of tools that we need to. I will not be directly naming many of them, but tools that you can embrace include, AI-assisted research tools that would basically help, the the drafting process easier, right? So basically, these tools like literature review assistants, drafting agent tools, and data tools, basically they will help you with faster literature digestion. You don't have to read through, as scientists, so many papers. You can just summarize them with the use of AI. As long as your use is like correctly ethical, is totally ethical. Like you're not using it to generate ideas, because AI can generate new ideas. This can only hallucinate around ideas that have existed. So, but basically, integrating AI within your workflows would help you scale the research that you're doing, help you with the rapid prototyping of your ideas, help you with clearer writing, help you to automate, some of these workflows, reduce your error. These small human errors can help you spot it. So basically, integrating this, AI assisted research tools could make you do better, faster science, as long as your use is smart and ethical. Another category of tools that we modern scientists should embrace to help us scale our research would be open science and reproducibility tools. Basically, science that that gives everybody actual insights into the methods of your work. For instance, sharing your code base in containers on GitHub, open source, where everybody can, go in and actually try to reproduce your results. So why these tools matter is because, like I said, it's a step towards open science. It allows people to reuse your code across projects. It even facilitates faster onboarding of collaborators. People that are looking to collaborate with you on your research. Since it's open source, they can basically just have a look and see how they can come in. It also helps to give you credibility, for your work, since everybody can see, can test it, can try to reproduce it, and as well as easy integration with publishing. Rounding up, the next category of tools that scientists should embrace to help scale their work would be funding and publishing and peer review tools. Yeah. So I think personally, like, scientists should embrace preprint servers more, instead of course, you cannot deny that for you to advance in your career as a scientist, you definitely need to be published in the big five, Elsevier, what and what. But if you're looking to do faster science, scientists need to embrace, preprint publishing in preprint servers. Basically, these are servers where you you publish work before they even go through actual peer review. Also, our enjoying also as scientists to embrace open peer review models, like what we do at Research Hub. I'm not going to talk about Research Hub today. Then finally, funding and project acceleration tools. So instead of waiting for the grants from NIH, from your government bodies that will take forever to come, there are other models that we can, as scientists, can explore, right? Crowdfunding models, basically getting funded through DeSci Launchpads and whatnot. So yeah, basically, as scientists looking to scale our research, basically any process that helps you to get more output, right? There are a couple of these tools that I would not really want to name drop here for offshore reasons, but yeah, if you'd like any recommendations on like tools to integrate into your workflows to make you do a faster, better, scale your research here, you can always reach out to me at Amzat at Research of Those Foundation, and yeah, I would definitely have a chat with you. I would have loved to give an overview of what I feel the process flow for what modern research should do, optimized by these cool tools. But yeah, time will not permit me to do that. Anyways, I am glad to have been able to share some of my ideas and communicate some of these pain points to the audience. If there are any questions, and if there if the host would allow any more time, yeah, you can ask me questions. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Temiloluwa Amzat from Research Up Foundation. We will take note of all questions and then narrow them down to respective speakers. And yeah, so thank you so much for your time. We all of us at DeSci Lagos, we super appreciate and thank you once again. So we'll be going up to the paper presentations, and first we have Ayeku Emmanuel presenting on Hydro Ride, a dual power electric bicycle integrating hydrogen fuel and blockchain systems. So we'll be going to Ayeku Emmanuel next. So Emmanuel, are we together? I will toggle the slides for you, and then so just confirm if you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. All right.
All right. So, good day, everyone. My name is Ayeku Emmanuel. I'm the 311 student of civil engineering studying in the University of Lagos. So, my paper presentation is about HydroRide, a dual power electric bicycle integrating both hydrogen fuel and blockchain system. So, next slide. I'm going to be as fast as possible. So, the problem context is urban mobility in Africa. If you check the demography of how people use electric vehicles in Africa, the percentage is very low, and that is due to so many things. People are still stuck on the fossil fuel vehicles. For example, like the normal petrol vehicle that we have, the diesel vehicle that we have, but those have problems as well. They come with air pollution, poor quality of air, also noise pollution, the constant honking of these vehicles, unpleasant sounds as well, energy system pollution, which bad electricity leads to generators, which produces harmful gases to our environment. So my problem is that the adaptation of Africans, the whole wide world, have on these petrol vehicles. I'm trying to eliminate that. So which is using both electricity and hydrogen fuel cell. So why did I choose hydrogen? Hydrogen can be used for so many things, but for here, we're trying to adopt the use of hydrogen fuel cell, where hydrogen reacts with oxygen in a fuel cell stack, creating electricity, heat, and pure water. Yes. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So basically, there are three basic layers that my solution entails. The mechanical layer, which is basically the body, the skeletal system of my solution, the energy layer, which is the heart of my solution, and the blockchain layer, which is not only the security but also the payment structure layer of my solution. So for the mechanical layer, we have a foldable frame, a battery slot, a hydrogen canister dock, and a motor plus sensors. For my energy layer, which is the heart, we have a lithium pack, we have a metal hydride hydrogen canister, a fuel cell model, and a power management unit. Next slide, please. I'm also like, yeah, okay. So basically, in hydroride, we have both the lithium ion battery subsystem and the hydrogen fuel cell subsystem. The basic idea is to have like a swap and go method where where users, owners of this electric bicycle have both the lithium ion, but when the lithium ion batteries have like short lifespan, so instead of going to charge it for about 3 hours or 2 hours, they use the swap and go method to exchange to the hydrogen fuel cell subsystem. Next slide, please. So, next slide, please. So basically, this is a report from Tesla.com where it compares the direct charging battery electric vehicles, the hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, and the power to liquid conventional vehicles, which is the normal fossil fuel vehicles. So the next slide, please. Let's be as fast as possible. So we have the energy for fusion and the smart control. This basically explains how hydro ride is going to work. I purposefully put it in a form of flow chart so it can be visualized by everyone. So if you let me just break it down. So hydro ride, it blends both battery power plus hydrogen power intelligently, where the hydrogen fuel cell acts as a secondary battery system, where we have real-time monitoring, smart switching, load balancing, and a safety management, and also regenerative banking for the blockchain aspects of it. Next slide, please. So basically, the blockchain layer, why do we integrate blockchain to Hydroride? Why not just use the normal traditional banking system, the normal centralized banking system? So for the normal banking system, it can be easily hacked, it can be easily cloned, it's not very reliable. Sometimes there are network issues, there are power outages, which causes this traditional bank system to come to a stop or pause. So that's why I chose blockchain layer for easy, for its security. It cannot be hacked, cannot be cloned. It can be easily accessible with the right measures and people to learn it easily. It's very easy to learn. But there are so many technical backgrounds behind the blockchain layer, which I would not really like to go into because of my time. And I just hope people can look at the screen properly and see the charts that I have made. So next slide, thank you. The blockchain performance metrics. This is compared to the normal banking system. Transaction per second is about 20 to 75 seconds. Block, and there are even some blockchains ecosystem that their transaction is very very fast. Block confirmation time less than 2 seconds. Payment automation, which is yes for via smart contracts. I'm sure people have an idea of what smart contracts is. So maintenance logs, which is immutable, meaning it cannot be changed. It cannot be changed. Yeah, that's been of immutable. So next slide, please. So with the societal environment impact, which I've kind of touched on earlier, like um, the impact of hydro ride, what's going to impact in our environment, how beneficial it's going to be in our environment, it's going to reduce carbon emission, going to cleaner micro mobility, transparent supply chain, circular economic potential. This has the potential to literally change the whole mobility sector, not only in Nigeria, but also in Africa. I was talking to a professor about this, and he mentioned that this research and the project has already kind of kicked off in places like Turkey. So I know that this is already something I can. This is something I can work on as well, and also maybe Nigeria can also be a center for it as well. So next slide. So the challenges that we are going to face for every solution is going to be like an hindrance, a little bit of hindrance to it. So the hydrogen distribution infrastructure in Africa isn't very strong. So that's kind of we're going to kind of face a little bit of a problem in that aspect. Manufacturing scale, regulatory policies. Before all this can be done, the kind of regulation we have to pass to be able to implement this is going to be a bit lengthy. Standardization of canisters and blockchain nodes. It's just recently that blockchain has been kind of a very accepted in Nigeria, for example. So this is kind of a kind of a barrier, but hopefully we can pass it and be able to successfully bring out hydrogen for everyone to use in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. And public perception and education. Like I said, I know I mentioned that people kind of understand what blockchain is, but the percentage of people that really understand is very low, especially in Africa. So that's one of the challenges we are going to face. But hopefully, can educate people with different ecosystems. We can be able to educate people, get them on board, and also improve the the aspect of people understanding what blockchain is actually about. Next slide, please. Yeah, so future work, this time frame is just for people to understand where we are headed to after the design of Hydroride. We're going to planning on bringing automated hydrogen vending kiosks, solar powered hydrogen micro hubs where people can build more versions of Hydroride, more but even better versions of Hydroride, lithium hydrogen intelligent routing, DAO governed mobility network, a multi city fleet rollout. That's going to be one of our biggest achievements in getting different parks, for example, in Lagos, to have this hydro ride so different people can commute using hydro ride. So my please next slide. I think I'm already done. Thank you very much for this opportunity, DeSci Lagos. I really enjoyed my presentation and I hope everyone did as well. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Dimlade Ayeko, and do well to have a great day. So next we'll be going to Abiola Ahmed. Is Abiola Ahmed on the call? All right. Yeah, Abiola Ahmed, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. Good afternoon.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go. So,
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mabiola Ahmed. I'm a data scientist and an operation officer. So I'm going to be talking about the traditional medicines and modern medicines. So now the topic here is exploring the anti-proliferative effects of traditional medicines on terminal illnesses. So next slide, please. Okay, these are the introduction to traditional medicines and modern medicines, combination of traditional medicines and modern medicines, challenges faced, objectives, why it matters, the balancing the usage and safety, recommendation for the future. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the introduction to traditional medicines and modern medicines. Traditional medicines refers to the knowledge systems that has been passed down through generations, often rooted in cultural practices, rituals, and local experiences. Modern medicine refers to contemporary practices and knowledge developed through rigorous scientific research and technological advancements. Next slide, thank you. Then I want to talk about the combination of traditional medicines and modern medicines. Now, integrating traditional medicines and modern medicines, we offer new possibilities in managing terminal illnesses, which they've not been looking at. So when we put the two together, the traditional medicines and modern medicines, I feel like it should help terminal illnesses and reduce the death and probably cure the lumps that start during terminal illnesses. So now, yeah, I say these illnesses which have progressed beyond curable stages continue to challenge modern medicines and medical treatments and often lead to a decline in patients' health and quality of life. Now, traditional medicine built on centuries of herbal and natural medicines remains widely used across many cultures. Many of these remedies are believed to relieve symptoms and improve well-being, yet their scientific evaluation is still limited because they are not even looking into it. They feel like they are not compulsory to me. The next slide, please. Okay, the main focus here is life. So exploring traditional remedies and modern medicines provides an opportunity to identify complementary approaches that may ease symptoms and support patients' comfort. Systematic study of these medicines, of these treatments, may offer valuable insights that enhance palliative care strategies to effectively harness the potential of both knowledge systems. Interdisciplinary research is essential. So we need to do more research on both do more research on traditional medicines that will suit or that will ease the pains during medical during what's it called during time well that will ease the pain for people that have terminal illnesses, or probably cure it at the very early stage. So we need collaborations between scientists, local knowledge bearers, and cultural practitioners that leads to innovative methodologies that respect and incorporate traditional practices into scientific research. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. The challenges faced. Despite the potential benefit of integrating traditional knowledge with modern science, challenges remain. Challenges like I remember when I did my project that I went to app sellers to give me details. Keeping the information. Some of them lied. Some of them were like some of them were like, no, go back, please, go back. Some of them were like, thank you. Some of them were like, the government is not helping them, so they don't want to give information out about the medicines that they use. So I believe there are some traditional medicines that will help people, that will help terminal illnesses, private cure, and everything. Next slide, thank you. Next slide. Then the objectives of my title of my topic is to identify traditional medicine. We should do research, get the traditional medicines that they use, the ones they've been gatekeeping for terminal illnesses, and assess their therapeutic benefits. Then we analyze it, gather information from practitioners and patients to understand usage pattern and reported outcomes. Then we develop evidence-based recommendation to guide healthcare providers in using these remedies safely. Next, please. Okay, why it matters for global insight. Understanding how different cultures utilize apps helps us uncover universal solutions for severe conditions. Then patient-centered. The primary goal is to relieve suffering. Identifying complementary approaches can directly enhance palliative care strategies. Now, informed decisions. By highlighting both strengths and limitations, we empower patients and doctors to help to make safer, holistic healthcare choices. Next slide, thank you. Balancing usage and safety. Popular due to affordability and culture. Herbal remedies are not risk-free. We don't say it's not that after doing this they said traditional medicines are still the best. It's not after testing we know they will get the best. So many have undergone the toxicology testing standard for modern drugs. The risk about using traditional medicine. Some plants contains compounds that are toxic and mutagenic. Without proper study, assuming natural safety can be dangerous. We must distinguish between plants and characterize harmful agents and those that provoke adverse effects. Next. Okay, recommendations for the future: education, train practitioners on scientific basis, and safety for medicinal plants. Research: conduct rigorous clinical studies to evaluate safety, efficacy, and dosage. Integration: combine traditional wisdom with modern-based medical treatments. All this will help us. Okay, Abshosa, thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, Brother Silence. Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
All right, thank you very much, Abiola Ahmed, for your presentation on the anti-prolific solutions when it comes to terminal illnesses using herbal medicine. Thank you. Up next would be Blessing Sabo. Can you hear me, Blessing? One second. Yeah, hi, Blessing.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, okay.
Hello. All right. Good afternoon. And good afternoon, everybody.
You can proceed.
All right. Good afternoon once again, everybody. My name is Asabu Blessing, and I'm a student of the University of Lagos. I'm here to present Ethnoledger, which is a USSD based blockchain protocol for securing indigenous knowledge. Next slide, please. So we've had cases here in Nigeria of where we see things that belong to us being licensed in places like the United States. They'll be like, okay, they'll take it as their own. We've all even had cases during the time of colonization where they'll come in and take resources that belong to us, things that actually like originally belong to us, and then they take it to their place, they take it to their museums and all that. So when all these things started at first, we weren't all that exposed to be able to like put measures in place. But now there are measures in place, and that thing, the entire thing is called biopiracy. These measures are just put in place to ensure that okay, our resources are not being stolen and taken there and being licensed as their own property. Now, in this case scenario, the resources are biological resources like our plants that are used to cure, because you know that there are a lot of herbal medicines produced here in Nigeria that are even more effective than the ones that are abroad. Now, we know that West Africa, according to statistics, West Africa loses millions annually to biopiracy. Our communities can't prove that originally belongs to them because they don't have any proof. When they don't even have enough funds to be able to take the matter to court. Traditional knowledge is being treated like public domain because many of them, these are knowledge they've preserved over centuries, and then these things are being taken and they are exposed. Everybody, yes, it's for good, but they are not being recognized as the people with the original ideas and people that discovered it. Next slide, please. So solutions exist well enough with the introduction of with the expansion of DeSci. We already have solutions to protect, which is a means of hashing your discovery on a blockchain. Now, this measure is very amazing because it can be used as proof, maybe as a legal proof that this idea originally belongs to you. But many people can't access this entire thing. Many people can't access the solution because of the fact that we have connectivity issues here in Nigeria. We have over 23% rural and 57% urban internet access problem, and this is an NTC data. Current blockchain solutions now, they need internet access. You need internet access to be able to even hash your discovery on a blockchain. Next slide, please. Now, what is the question? Question is, can USSD-based blockchain provide us patent comparable proof of indigenous knowledge? And this question will be answering it in the course of this research. Next slide, please. Now, what is the key innovation? The key innovation is bringing something down to us, down to our level. We have connectivity issues. We even know that here in Nigeria, there are certain places that we still live on 2G network. And we know that even this 2G network is not all that reliable. Some don't even have access to internet connection. Many of them don't have in places like Nigeria, even other places in places like Congo. So we need something that addresses not only the whole entire issue of biopiracy, but that addresses it in a way that suits us, that addresses it in a way that is in our design. So the key innovation of Ethnoledger is that it doesn't require any internet access. All you just need to do is to dial a USSD number, and you can easily hash and protect your discovery on a blockchain. Now, it features a phone integration, which means that with your basic phones like your small Nokia 310, you can be able to hash your discovery on a blockchain, which is really amazing. Now, it offers instant affordable protection because you're going to be we're going to be storing it on a Polygon network. Next slide, please. Okay, so now the technical architecture, it is a 3-layer system. So all you just need to do is you dial the USSD through it has been integrated with the African Token API. Then there is a middleware which stores because we know that after research, I recognize the fact that everybody needs to have a unique ID, a unique server, and this a unique ID that is very peculiar to them. And because I know that this basic phone, these are 3310, really can't do those things. So everything now be stored on a server for them. So they don't even need to have a unique ID. They don't even need to own a unique ID. Everything for them is stored on a particular server. And we're going to be using a Polygon blockchain. Now, instead of Ethereum, something that's like a cousin to Ethereum, which is Polygon. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Now, it is secure per se because it is very secure actually because it protects your own discovery. Now, feature phones, like I said before, cannot store private keys, right? But we're going to be using a delegated signing, which is what I spoke about before, storing it on a particular server. Your private keys, the ones that your unique ID, like I said, the ones that are particular to you, will be stored, and it is very well secured on a particular server. It is secured. Next slide. Now, everything all boils down to the fact that okay, we are looking for something that is very affordable to us. We're looking for something that is very accessible to us. We're trying to solve a problem and solving it in the best way possible. Now, we're going to be like this slide just shows us how cost effective it is if we integrate to a solution like Ethnoledger. We already have normal traditional Nigerian patent filing, which is takes like $200 to $1,000, and no herbal medicine doctor would want to go through this process of trying to patent something because they don't even I know they do some of them don't even they care, but they when they think about the stress, they'll be like, okay, it's not worth it going through all these things to patent their ideas. But with even same thing with using Ethereum, but with Ethnoledger, you can be able to patent you can be able to like patent your discovery and okay store it on a blockchain with just $0.02, and that's like 20 cents, which is 30 naira. And this thing is very very like timely. You don't have to waste time doing it. Next slide please. We also have performance metrics, which is like the results. What how good will it if it's actually actualized, if it's accepted, how good will it what the benefit is to give us. Now we have the 4.2 seconds average latency, which means that you can store your ideas and your research on a blockchain without wasting your time, without having to go through the whole stress. In seconds, it works on edge networks, and there is no difference in weak and strong signals because it's not using internet access. You can literally do it with your USSD. Next slide, please. Now, the data sovereignty. Ethnoledger creates a defensive publication, a recording timestamp proof of indigenous knowledge, establishing legal protection that can be admissible under the computer-generated evidence, section 84 of Nigerians evidence. The approach mirrors the success of M-Pesa, which demonstrates that financial inclusion doesn't require smartphone ownership. It proves that intellectual property protection can follow the same accessible pathway for rural communities, which means that rural communities can also have access, can also be involved because these things come from them. They are the major they are the people that it directly affects the most because they are people with this knowledge and they need the knowledge to be secured. Next slide, please. Now, in the course of this research, there were many limitations, which is one, it is not fully decentralized, which means that it is every of the private keys, like I mentioned before, are stored on a server. Now, this server, if it has any issues, other people can like hackers can have access to it. So in conclusion, the digital divide is a design problem. It's not a thing of whether we are able to do it or not. This is the way we've been approaching the problem from the beginning. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and that is my research.
All right. Thank you very much. Blessing Asabu for your presentation. And please do also have a great day. Thank you for your time. All right. So up next would be presentation by Samuel Adebanjo on assessing the potential of digital rewards driven model to encourage sustainable and climate conscious actions on campus. So 2 seconds to confirm this person. Once again, Samuel Adebanjo is currently not on this call. So next would be Somtochukwu Ibo. Somtochukwu, are we together?
Yes, we are together.
All right. So please, you can currently mute. I think there's feedback from your end. So please, while you are muted, please do well to check for your interferences. I think we are having interferences from your end. So I am bringing your slide up right now. And once again, this is just to, it's not a public service announcement, but it's just to remind all of us of the physical session that will be going on tomorrow at the University of Lagos, Nigeria, at the Unilag Design Studio, Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Lagos. To clarify, there are two design studios, Unilag Design Studio, USD, and UDS, sorry. And the one we are going to is not the one at the Faculty of Engineering. The one you're coming to is the one at the Faculty of Social Sciences. And please do well to follow us across all social media platforms. And definitely stay tuned. For persons that are not physically present in Lagos, Nigeria, please also note that tomorrow's event would be live streamed. So tomorrow we are also kicking off with academia, and we have the likes of Dr. Shita, the head of research department at the Nigeria's Center for Energy and Efficiency Commission. We also have Dr. Yunusa, the senior lecturer at the Faculty of Engineering, University of Lagos, and we also have the popular Saeed Ayoni from Yan GPT. We'll also be featuring the president of Web3 Unilag, Biri Olokoji Oluwaseun, as well as many other interesting persons that I know that have contributed to science, contributed to DeSci, and also contributed to the ecosystem here in Africa. So once again, let's go back to our paper presentation. We still have a couple of other persons, and we have an upcoming session as well with Vincent Chalet, Dr. Vincent Chalet from Spindal. We'll be talking about changing backstories, the Spindal's mission. So let's bring up your slide, so you take it up from there. All right, in a few seconds. Have you been able to rectify? If you can hear me, please just unmute yourself.
I can hear you.
All right. So can you ask for a present from your end? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm trying to present from my end.
Okay. So why we do that?
Okay. Is it? So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sumtochukwu Ebo, an engineering student from University of Lagos, Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department. And my research topic for my position paper was towards the Pan-African technological avant-garde, the role of decentralized science. So let's dive into it. So the overview of the problem is that my paper was trying to examine the structural failures of the current academic framework. The current framework forces Africa to depend on the West, stifling innovation. So I propose that decentralized science can provide a sort of leapfrog mechanism for Pan-African technological avant-garde. So my presentation is going to cover four main aspects. We're going to first of all analyze the problem of the legacy system that were already built for extraction rather than innovation. Number two, we're going to understand the concepts, why Africa must leapfrog the traditional academia. Number three, provide a solution which forms in form of decentralized science. And number four, gives us a roadmap for operationalizing the avant-garde that we are trying to get into. So first of all, let us understand the current state of things. The current state of things is characterized by extraction rather than innovation, where we see things like parachute
Um,
science, whereby
Sorry to cut you short. Your slides are not visible. I think it's only showing black. I don't know if you can see it.
okay,
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
no problem, it's no problem. Can you see it?
Can we have somebody from, if they can see the presentation? Okay, we can't see
Okay,
it.
okay, let me try and take it down and start again.
All right.
Okay,
So if I'm faster than you, I'll present it for you.
okay. Okay, can we see this?
Yes.
Okay, so as I said, my position paper topic was towards the Pan-African technological avant-garde and what's the role of decentralized science. So the overview of the problem was that we are trying to examine the structural failure of the current academic frameworks, which is characterized by stifling African innovation. So, what I told you, as I said, we're going to be breaking down into four different sections. First of all, we're going to analyze the problem. We're going to bring up new concepts. That is why Africa must leapfrog traditional academia. Number three, we are going to find a solution. And number four, we're going to provide a strategic roadmap for innovation. Okay, so as I said before, the current state of things right now in African academia is characterized by extraction rather than innovation, where parachute science is very predominant. And what is parachute science? This is when researchers from the global north come over to Africa and harvest our data without providing proper attribution for these things. So, and it's also characterized by different centralized system whereby we have centralized funding models, exclusionary paywalls, where instead instead of collaborating with Africa, it's sort of extracting from Africa. So I'm proposing that now that the argument is that we cannot fix these legacy systems, that it's too expensive, it's too broken, that instead our solution was that we must leapfrog it, just like mobile money bypass line. And the vehicle that we're going to use for leapfrogging this is decentralized science. Now, how is it going to do that? We are going to build a permissionless serving scientific economy using Web3 infrastructure. So next, we're going to go straight into diagnosing the problem. So first of all, The legacy system that we're talking about is this centralized science structure, whereby it has colonial research roots, characterized by parachute science, where people collect data without proper attribution. Under here, is also characterized by very large economic dependency. It's shown that approximately 50% of R&D funding, that's research and development funding, comes from foreign donors. And hence, when someone controls how you're getting funding, they also control what you can research on. Hence, you see instances of times where African researchers end up researching on topics that do not conform their local realities in a bid to try to um, secure the funding they need for these things. It leads to agenda misalignment, and also it can also come in form of the administrative burden because of in order to apply for this funding, also to apply to um, into these journals, is a lot of bureaucracy involved. And another thing that the legacy system has is intellectual gatekeeping. There are high paywalls, as is seen, up thousands of dollars just to publish your research in specific journals, which exclude African authors. And number three is infrastructure deficit, otherwise called scientific latency. Sometimes in the procurement of equipment needed for research, it is not very viable because of the shipping costs and there's a lot of things. And also, African researchers who are in the computing sphere depend very much on cloud-based services which are in overseas. All these things reinforces the problems of the legacy system structure. So now, what are the costs of centralization? The cost of centralization is the funding trap. That is, local traditional systems are slow, bureaucratic, and political. The brain drain. As a result of all these problems, brain drain occurs because of African researchers would not like to function in a place where things are not happening. Hence, they are hemorrhaging the African pool of African human resources, moving up to overseas to continue their research. And data sovereignty. The genomic and environmental data is stored on foreign servers, which leads to a loss of IP. Now, what is our solution? What's the solution I'm proposing? The solution I'm proposing is DeSci, decentralized science. Sorry. Decentralized science. So decentralized science is characterized by three main things. Decentralized science is characterized by immutability. That means whenever research is published on these blockchains that is going to have, it's immutable, meaning it can be removed. It's stored, cryptographically secured, and time-stamped. And number two thing I'm suggesting is IP NFTs, because in normal centralized system, when researchers' intellectual properties are not really secured. So decentralized science provides for that by providing IP NFT, which is intellectual property non-fundable tokens. Under this, immediately you submit your research on the blockchain, it generates a NFT. That means you can retain some of your intellectual property. Another thing that we have is open access. A lot of research is not really accessible because of different people would not gain from patents if it was open access. So by letting research be open access, it can lead to a lot of development in the African research sphere. Now, what do we need to achieve this is the Pan-African DeSci stack, as I call it. First of all, an organization. Organizations need to form sort of research DAOs. What are research DAOs? Whereby you can collaborate with different people without visa issues. Hence, now, whenever we are looking at research, we are not looking at it from a sort of geographic location. We are looking at it from the whole DAOs. Number two is funding. Here, you get quadratic funding rather than depending on a foreign donor or someone who would dictate the agenda of the research. You get funding through smart contract and quadratic funding. Here you get fast, transparent grants based on your community consensus. That means everybody has a stake in determining whether research is important, whether research should go, instead of one person in one office it's determining it. And number three is the hardware, deepen. Under this, usually under the centralized system, there's a lot of fragmentation under this thing. Okay, so I'm not going to run on ahead. So operationalizing the avant-garde, that means we have to build our capacity, launch pilot program, go for integration, and do risk mitigation. Okay. Okay. So I think that where I'm going to end the presentation now. So thank you to everybody that listened to my research.
All right. Thank you very much, Somto Chukwu, on your presentation on the avant-garde for enhancing operations of decentralized science across Africa. Up next, we have Joshua. So Joshua's, let me bring Joshua up. And we are gradually coming to a close, but we still have a couple more presentations. So please stay by and enjoy the potentials that we will be seeing from this region starting next year. All right. So Joshua, we are together. So Joshua, can you hear me? Joshua, are we together? All right. So let's go to Samuel Adebanjo. Welcome, Samuel. Please confirm.
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
All right, we are having a couple of interference from your background, so I hope it does not affect the quality of your presentation.
How about now? Is it good now, sir?
I think it's good. So I think we are good to go. Okay. Can you present your slides from your end?
My
Trying to see
slide
the
from
app.
my end.
All right.
Okay. Coming.
So just let's take 30 seconds to do your
Thank you,
preloading.
boss. I'm busy like this. My head.
Who the heck is okay? What the heck is going on? All right. The network. Oh, all right.
Can you see my screen now?
I think so. I want to confirm. Yes, I can see it. So I think you are good to go.
All right. Okay. So yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Samuel Adebanjo, and I and two other colleague of mine came up together to work on this research, assessing the potential of a digital reward review model to encourage sustainable actions on campus. Okay, to the next slide. So, why a digital incentive system? I believe you can all hear me, right? Can you all hear me? I need
Yes, we
confirmation.
can proceed.
Okay. So, yeah, why a digital incentive system? Right? We all know that there's an high climate awareness, right? And whatsoever human does, right? Burning of woods, lack of cleanliness, um, um, a bad way of disposing refuse and the likes, this can actually affect the environment we are, right, causing harm to human, right? So I thought of, let us have a digital incentive model that can actually help reward students so that they can actually take upon these eco-friendly actions, right? So having gone through some existing models, I saw the Joe Bug, the Recycle Bank, right? And I noticed that all these models help for recycling, and they are basically not African based, and it's beyond Africa. So there's no localized platform, and I and my team we're working on building a model like an app that can help reward sustainability. So, and I noticed something about Nigerian students. We are always interested in something that can actually bring them reward and benefit. Yeah, we started with a Google form, and the Google form about number one, not number one, some series of questions. And one of the important questions is that how important is environmental sustainability to them? And we can see a large number of them, yeah, knows the importance of sustainability. Going on to the next, what stops them from taking eco-friendly action? We all know eco-friendly action, planting of trees, um, good disposal of refuse and waste and the likes. So, uh, can you hear me? I hope I'm still in the call. Can you hear me?
You
I
are
need the
audible.
confirmation. Can you hear me? Oh,
Yes.
4 minutes left. That's so fast. Okay. So yes, we saw that everybody will be motivated if there is a model that can actually reward them. Now, moving on, we came up with a solution which is called Echo Green Cred. I don't know if you guys can hear me, and I need the confirmation. Can you all hear me? Oh my God. I hope it's not network.
You have 2 minutes left.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. All right. So yeah, we come up with a model which is Echo Green Cred. It is a gamified digital platform that helps towards citizens, I mean students and also youth. Right? I did a comparison of the models with Joburg, Recycle Bank, and Green Point, right? And making it see that Eco Green is student-focused digital reward system, and also it is for Africa because we are trying to work on this as a startup from our hand. Okay, so yeah, how it works, the dashboard, there is a user and also the administrator. The user uploads all his eco-friendly actions, while the administrator will help verify the act and also give points which can be redeemable. So we can see a display of the app we built on with Node.js and the likes, and we can see the interface. So what is our implementation? Just we want to start with LASU, right, and partner with other NGOs to help foster this model. So okay, so we can see the use cases, right? um, when they are clean up, when they are planting of trees, users should actually upload an evidence to prove, right? And that evidence to prove will be verified by the admin, yes, via so many facts, so many operations, and gives them points for that. So what's the feasibility? It is low cost, tech start, and right, it's partnership funding and scalable for other African use. So other improvement is to use an AI-based validation, also use campus ambassadors validation and blockchain. So in conclusion, the cultural intervention, which is eco-green cred, and it aligns with sustainability, can help redefine the climate action and in Africa at large. So what is our call to action? The call to action is to join us in piloting this solution, eco-green cred, to revolutionize Africa. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Samuel Adebanjo, on your presentation. And up next, we would be going to another DAO presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, now speaking would be Dr. Vincent Chalet from Spine DAO. And definitely his topic is about changing backstories. So, hi, Vincent. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
hi Scott, how are you?
Doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm actually I'm in Paris with two of the core team, Virginie and Bassel, and I'm super pleased. Thank you so much for the invitation and having me today talking about Spine DAO because it's been a year now, Scott. it's it's our birthday.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
first birthday of Spine DAO, and I will talk about this adventure. And I wanted to firstly thank you so much because Spine DAO wouldn't exist without you, Scott, and your incredible team. So basically, Spine DAO it's first and foremost a human adventure. And you can go next slide. So the idea is uh, to create human bonds first and foremost, because if you want to develop AI, if you want to develop products that can change the world, I think that the first step is to create human bonds, strong human bonds, and also uh, a strong community, a strong human community. For me, is the first step to build something. And Spine DAO began like 4 years ago because with Guillaume Longeon and Joseph Christini, we created Spine Research Community, and it's very funny because everything is aligned as we speak in Marseille, so it's south of France. You have the annual symposium of spine research community, and it's a community of 70 plus spine surgeons in France. And this community is about camaraderie, because uh, the human camaraderie leads to strong adherence and to strong project. So I wanted to emphasize on that. And 1 year ago, I had this idea to scale up spine research community, which is exclusively a French-speaking community, to our worldwide spine care community. And the idea was, the question was, how do we push the spine research and spine care research worldwide? How can we incentivize people to push for insight, but also to push for data, because we are a data DAO. And the idea was like, maybe we could create something that is transparent, that can be traceable with incentive. And this is a three component of blockchain technology. So we began by thinking about what are the main problems in spine care. And you can go next, Scott. So basically, for surgical spine care, the main problem are begin in the office, because we have 90% of our patients at a surgical office that are not appropriate surgical candidates. And that's a big burden, because they have to wait for like 3 to 4 months to see a surgeon. And this surgeon, in 90% of the case, he can explain the disease, he can explain what can be done, but at the end of the consultation, it's quite disappointing, because he said in 90% of the case, surgery is not your solution. So you have to go. I have to refer you to another practitioner. So you will have to wait for like 2 to 3 months to have the appropriate care. And it's also a burden for the surgeon, because we were taught to operate on patient. So we need to see like 100 patients per week to do or to practice our art, that is surgery. So we need to see 100 patients to operate on 10 patients. So seeing 100 patients at the office, it's quite complex, because you have to prepare a very efficient rhetoric, and you don't have so much time to spend with the patient, dealing with psychology, emotion, pain, and that's a huge problem. But it's also a problem for the payers, because insurance and the states, they pay in 90% of the case for inappropriate consultation. So it's also an economic issue. The other milestone to reach was linked to another problem in our art. As soon as I have my surgical patient, I'm like, okay, let's help this patient fix his spine. What kind of strategy I have to adopt? And it was you need to know that there is a high variability for a given patient, from a lumbosacral instrumented reconstruction, like the very heavy surgery with titanium, and the simple endoscopic decompression. We had in our community, for a given patient, all this spectrum of solutions. So we don't have like a standardized surgical care for this patient. So we need to address this problem. And the last problem that we need to address is the fact that I'm always happy to see a post-operative well-being patient in my office, because, in southwest of France, in Périgueux, they bring you ducks, they bring you wine, and you're super happy because you have a hunter that can hunt again, so he's super happy, can walk again. You have a grandma that can take care of his children, and it's super important to see patients that are well-being after a surgery. But basically, they are taking a slot for people in need, for people that are suffering. So we are also thinking about how we can remotely monitor patient and keep the contact with the patient remotely, to improve the office hour feeling with patient in need. So that's the three burdens that SpineDAO is supposed to address, and you can see here the core team. So we are three people from France: myself, Guillaume Longeon, and Joseph Cristini. So Joseph Cristini is a neurosurgeon. Guillaume Longeon and me, we are orthopedic surgeon, and you have two people from USA, Bassel Diebo, an orthopedic surgeon in Providence, USA, and also Virginie Lafage. She's a biomechanical engineer, so she's taking care of the scientific part of our initiative, and it's an amazing journey, because having biomechanical engineer with practitioner and clinician is the way to solve problem, because you cannot solve problem if you're only a clinician. You cannot solve problem if you're only an engineer. You need to mix the skill of people, and you need to have this serendipity. The fact that when you meet someone from on another field, there can be some discussion, and from this discussion you can have enlightenment in the setting of science. You can find some cure by mistake or by discussion. So that's super exciting in our initiative. You can go next. So this is our partner, and we are super proud to because there is another birthday. We met Paul and James and all the people from Bioprotocol. It was like basically last year at SciCon. So SciCon from Research Hub will be I think it's this week or next week, and I had the luck to go to San Francisco and meet Paul and James. They are incredible. I mean, they basically are giving us the chance to change the world, giving us the chance to do the duty of our generation to accelerate science. And I want to thank Bioprotocol for doing what they are doing, because it's an incredible job. And you can see also that we have different other kind of partner. Preprints with Nassim Daouche. So Nassim is a computational scientist working in Thailand, and is the mastermind of the computational development of SpineDAO and the product. We are also partnering with Wojciech Sierowski and all this team from Data Lake, because we need to have certified data through blockchain technology, and that's super important to have also a consent form from the patient that is on chain, that can give some permission for the industry or researcher to access to anonymize the data and certified data. So Data Lake are doing all this job. And I'm super proud also to partner with Académie Nationale de Chirurgie, the French Surgical Academy. It was from the Royal Surgical Academy in France, so it's 1731. It's very old institution, and I'm super proud to have opened a Phantom wallet for them in the setting of our Chronos project, finding old old science, digitizing old science in exchange of token. So if the Académie Nationale de Chirurgie does have a Phantom wallet, everybody should have a Phantom wallet in order to interact with decentralized science. So we did quite decent fundraise through the Bioprotocol Launchpad, and again, it's from Scott and his team that worked a lot between November 2024 and May 2025 to just develop the vision in the website, and to put everything in place to have this successful launchpad. So again, mille merci, Scott. Next one. So maybe we can talk a little bit about the tokenomics of the Spine token. So we are on Solana, and you have a different kind of allocation, and you can trade Spine token with USDC Bio token, and also Solana token. But what is the most important in this slide is the fact that we have this data sharing rewards, 15% of data sharing rewards, 150 million token for the contributor. And it leads to the next slide. You can see our circular economy. Basically, we developed a social network that the name is Spinal. So we can go on the next slide, maybe, that shows the circular economy. We have a social network where a clinician can share insight, but also clinical case that leads to some comments from soulbound token verified surgeons that can comment on clinical case, and this create labelized data that fuel our AI model. Our AI model, for example, to discriminate a surgical to a non-surgical patient when he wants to take the appointment, come from this labelized data. And the reward for the labelizing those data are the Spine token for the contributor. And then when we develop our AI, we push for an IP, and we have the IP filter on chain through molecule. And then we build a product. The product is Vector, that allows patient to have the appropriate care at the appropriate time, and we will be able to launch Vector, the commercialized product, next February 2026. So there will be a revenue back from this activity, and this revenue will go to the DAO, and the DAO will buy back the Spine token in order to give it back to the contributor. So you have the overview of our circular model. Next is, so here you have our three products: Vector, the smart appointment system. You can go on. I think it's the campaign is ongoing on LinkedIn, so you can check Vector and all the technology. We have Spinal, which is the social network that put a spine researcher, spine clinician together in order to push for labelized data and push for our AI model. And we will present in Abu Dhabi Solana Breakpoint event next week our Lamina chatbot. In partnership with Playas, we developed this chatbot for patients. Will be a super important entry point, a real spine companion, a real AI spine companion that will be able, from the patient characteristic, to propose a health a wellness program, and to also create a backpack, like a given patient file that the patient can carry and give it to his doctor. So again, thank you, mille merci to you, Scott, and all your team, because SpineDAO wouldn't exist with your effort. And don't hesitate if you want to join us. The Discord is open, Telegram is open, and we are looking for further development Q1 2026. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Vincent. We really appreciate you as well, and every other core team member at SpineDAO. As also, thank you so much for honoring our invitation to present SpineDAO at DeSci Lagos. So we have close to 1,000 persons, listening to you and the amazing work you are doing at SpineDAO. So thank you very much, Vincent, for stopping by, and we'll definitely catch up later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. Have a good one, and congratulations for this amazing DeSci Lagos. I hope next year I will be in person.
All right. Thank you. Looking forward.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye. All right. So we would go on to next presentation by Olagbenle Ayomiposi. It would be presenting on open science and decentralization. So over to you, Ayomiposi. You are in control of the slide. So enjoy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Am I audible enough?
Yes.
Right.
Please note that you are audible all through the session. The session is live, so you are audible. You can just proceed. Thank you.
All right. So, good afternoon once again. My name is Ayomiposi Olagmele, and I would be presenting my research on open science and decentralization on the context of how we can catalyze global accessibility, how we can catalyze global accessibility, reproducibility, and trust through blockchain technology. The next slide. Right. Next slide. Okay, yeah. All right. So you can see from the image somebody that is tired. Imagine a researcher or a student in the final year planning to publish his or her research, and having that barrier placed by a centralized platform. All right. So that student will find it difficult to publish his or her work. And the reality is that 75% of scholarly documents are locked behind paywalls. That is, many of the research documents are not accessible. They are not accessible. You have to pay for it. All right. So researchers face a pay to read or a pay to publish paradox that is placed by centralized platforms. So vital knowledge remains accessible only to the wealthy ones. So this knowledge are only accessible to those that can do the subscription placed by this centralized platform. I mean the centralized platform, not decentralized. All right. So on to the next slide. So what are the crises of centralization? We'll be looking at some of the crises. The crisis is the one is the fragility. All right. From the image, you can see the explanation of what a centralized platform is, right? Every paper, everything goes to one platform. Just imagine if anything happens to that platform, you can't have access to the data, everything will be lost, or there's a change in policy of that platform. Let's say, for example, you can afford to publish your papers for $50, then something happens tomorrow, they raise it up to like $100 and you won't be able to afford it. So these are the crises we face in centralized platform. So another thing is trust issues, right? Peer review often feels like a black box with no visibility, right? This is situation whereby you do a review and you don't get any acknowledgement, you don't get any reward for your review, right? And another case is the loss of data, which I already explained that if anything should happen to the platform, you will not have access to such research work again. On to the next slide, right? So now the solution is we dive into the decentralized science, right? So now the new way to solve this problem is decentralized science. The same technology that powers blockchain, that powers Bitcoin rather, same technology that powers Ethereum, which is called blockchain, will now solve this problem for us using distributed ledger technology, right? Blockchain is an example of a distributed ledger technology, and we will use it to re-architect how we create, validate, and share knowledge, right? And it is controlled by the community, right? So no single person or company can control or shut down this new system. On to the next slide. So we'll be looking at the three pillars of open science. The three pillars of open science, which I characterized in this slide, is first is the transparency, the sharing, and inclusivity. All right. Everything is transparent, right? You can see everything. You can see the full work, not just the summary, not just the peer review. You can have access to a research paper and you can have access to some research equipment too, right? Like some of the equipment that was used, you can see them. And some of the website that can provide that for us is Research Hub. When you go there, you see that you can have access to research work. You don't have to pay any money, all right? And sharing. So this sharing is absolutely free. Everything is free. You can share, no paywalls. You don't have to pay any amounts to share the data. All right. Removing barriers to reuse so knowledge can compound, so that knowledge can compound faster. So the third one is inclusivity, inviting the entire planet to the table, engaging diverse contributors, including non-scientists in discovery process. All right. It's just how that you in London can collaborate with us in Lagos here, and we would work on the same project, just like the way Borderless Science has invited some of the DAOs to come and share their product with us. All right, on to the next slide. So technological trust and immutability. All right, now the big fear everyone has is, okay, if I give my work for free, how do I make money? Simple. You still own your work, right? You own your work. You turn the ownership into a digital certificate. That's like an IP NFT, where you get reward for your work, right? The paper is free for everyone to read. For example, if like a big drug company wants to use your idea, they pay you directly. This is the trust we are talking about in decentralized science. You get paid for every of your intellectual property. All right. So there is no fear, and it is not controlled by anybody. Not even the president of Nigeria can control it, or not even Trump. Right. So yeah. And no more silos. Data lives on a distributed network, not a private server owned by a corporation. Verification relies on cryptographic protocols, not the permission of institutional gatekeepers. All right, on to the next slide. So now, the next slide is talking about democratizing funding with DAOs. So funding is now made easy. Before you write, for example, a grant and you submit it and wait for the next 2 or 3 years before a centralized platform can, attend to you, it is now very easy. All right, let's say for example, you submit a a proposal to, let me say, committee of centralized platform in Europe or somewhere, and you don't get that response because of maybe barrier and all of those, you have to pay. It is not like that. Funding is now made easy, right? So the solution now for this funding that is made easy is how that decentralized autonomous organizations can fund research. Some of them have presented their product to us today and encouraged us and maybe call us, let me use that word, to submit any of our research if we have any. And if it's something that the community loves, they would vote and fund your research. It is not controlled by anybody. All right, it is a community work. So on to the next slide. So tokenizing knowledge, ownership meets openness. One major barrier to open science is the fear of losing control. All right. DeSci solves this with IP NFT, intellectual property, non-fundable tokens, proof of authorship, verifiable on-chain ownership, monetization. Creators can now license rights or share royalty even while the data is open. All right. This is an example of what it looks like. From the image, you can see how that everybody have access to it. All right. Everybody have access to it, and you get reward of your IP NFT. All right. And the next thing is incentivized peer reviews. All right. Peer reviews are now incentivized, whereby you get reward for your reviews on any research. Peer reviews are published openly alongside the research. The black box is open, increasing accountability and trust in evaluation. And rewarded labor. All right. Reviewers earn token for their critical work. Their system values the time spent and validation, which is often unpaid and invisible in traditional models. Verifiable reputation. The reputation score travels the researcher across projects. Good behavior and quality contribution build a permanent and trusted profile. All right. So the next slide, which is the final slide. So in conclusion, this is science without borders. By decentralizing the infrastructure, we don't just fix access, we invite the world to collaborate. DeSci is the path to a faster, fairer, and more credible global knowledge engine. All right. So what you need to know today is just make sure you join a community that would help you grow in this space and collaborate and work on more research. Right. So I think that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Borderly Science. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Olagbinle Ayomkosi, for your presentation. So we have one more presentation, and then we bring today to a close. It has been an amazing day here at DeSci Lagos 2025. I'm trying to do the rectification of the issues associated with Joshua's presentation. And I think, okay, I'm about to solve that problem. 1 second. So up next, we'll be having Joshua Chinedu Inwogu. His presentation is on the male vitality, which is the future of male vitality, scientific pipeline for validating African and Asian botanical bioactives. So I will be presenting my screen. in this case for you. And then, yep, there you go. All
Okay,
right, so
thank
you
you.
can proceed.
Okay, thank you, DeSci Lagos 2025. My name is Scientist Joshua Chinedu Enwogo. I am here to present on the topic, the future of male vitality, a Web3 enabled scientific pipeline for validating African and Asian botanical biotics. How many of us, over the years, there has been increase in the rate of impotency and other vitality related factors when we talk about men. Please, can you go to the first slide? Yes, okay. Now, this comes from the impact of stress, lifestyle like smoking and excessive consumption of alcohol, and even age. These are the things that has effects on male vitality, and we must have experienced this whether in friends, family, or even ourselves. In Nigeria, there's a we are seeing increased urbanization and long working hours, stress that affects men's health, and is no longer just about the physical challenges that come with this, but also with the mental strain. Like, here, dude cannot perform very well. So this is why, especially in urban areas like Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and in the southeast, today I am here to discuss how ethnobotanical plants like Sphenocentrum julianum and Eurycoma longiflora could offer natural solutions to this growing problem. Next slide. Research purpose. No, can we really rely on synthetic drugs for long-term health solutions, or it's time we return back to nature and the wisdom of our traditional herbs? In Nigeria, herbs like Eurycoma longiflora are already used by many, especially in communities, for vitalities. Many of us may have heard about it in the local markets or from family members. The challenge is, however, uh, is that it's not scientifically proven. The efficacy and dosage has not been scientifically proven, and we cannot be able to scale the traditional method they practice into a broader use, to invite foreign investors to invest in this. So my research proposes a hybrid model that combines classical pharmacodynamics with decentralized science to ensure that these remedies are not just effective but also transparent, reproducible, and investor ready. Next slide. So the methodology, what if we could harness the power of blockchain to guarantee that the herbal remedies we are using are backed by solid, replicable scientific data? In Nigeria, many local healers uses plants like this for vitality, but there is no scientific validation or standardization of these herbal drugs. We aim to change that by combining this traditional knowledge with modern scientific methods such as Web3 technologies. We can create a decentralized platform for these plans to be validated and trusted globally, even by the Westerns. Our methodology includes narrative synthesis of from existing studies, the little pieces existing studies are existing out there, combining in vivo, in vitro, and clinical trials to provide solid foundation for these remedies. Next slide. What if so key findings of Sphenocentrum julianum. What if the next breakthrough in male vitality wasn't a pharmaceutical drug, but an African herb that is being used for centuries? In southeastern Nigeria, like where I come from, herbs like Sphenocentrum julianum has been used for energy and vitality for generations. And imagine validating their potential scientifically and offering them as an affordable, effective alternative to expensive pharmaceuticals. In our research, we found that Sphenocentrum julianum has a rapid aphrodisiac effect in animal models, reducing latency for sexual behavior. It works through nitric oxide independent smooth muscle relaxation, through calcium channel blockage, and shows antiphatic activities as well. This means that it doesn't follow the normal nitric acid pathway. Rather, it does this by blocking the production of calcium ions. Calcium ions is the ion that is responsible for vasoconstriction. So if this calcium ion is not present, there is normal flow of blood, and when there is normal flow of blood, there will be normal flow of testosterone. So next slide. Yes. How many of us have heard about Tomcat Alley, a natural solution to fight fatigue or low energy, but didn't realize it could also help restore hormonal balance? But this is actually the truth, because people are already using it, and with the tests and the with the in vitro in vitro test we have, it proves, yes, that these things can actually solve this problem. In Nigeria, Uricoma longifera is gaining popularity every day as natural supplement, especially among men looking for stress relief and improved vitality. Our research confirms its potential, adding scientific relief and improved vitality. People are no more with our research, and where we are going. People don't have to be scared of this drug, because it will be standardized. Our research confirms its potential, adding scientific credibility to it, and also with already existing experience from the local market. Our study showed that Uricoma longifera increases testosterone by 30 to 40%. That is 2/3 higher than what other treatments and Viagra can do, and it reduces cortisol by -16%. This is if cortisol, which is a stress hormone, is reduced by -16%. That means the person's mood, the individual's mood, will be improved, and there will be more physical strength, especially for the aging and the stressed individuals. Next slide. Now, in a hybrid validation model, how can we ensure that these powerful natural remedies are accessible and trustworthy? That is the question. In Nigeria, we see a growing number of local producers, herbalists selling these remedies, but the issue is always been has always been standardization and trust. People don't trust them. How can we be sure of the quality and the efficacy of these herbs, and even how safe they are to our body? So our model combines modern science with decentralization. By using blockchain and decentralized governance like the DAOs, we can create an open, transparent system where local producers and researchers can share data and participate in the validation process. Next slide. Now, talking about this, there is also a business opportunity as we validate the effectiveness of ethnobotanical remedies like Sphenocentrum julianum and the Uricoma longifera. We must also look at the commercialization potential of these plants and producing it in a scientific, standardized way. The market for natural vitality products is growing rapidly, not only in local Nigeria market, but also in the Asia market, with increasing demand for herbal supplement that supports male health. By incorporating Web3 technology such as blockchain and DAOs, we not only ensure the integrity of this of scientific data, but also enable decentralized funding opportunities for scaling production. This opens up a path for investors to access scientific backed data, locally sourced remedy from our local market here in Nigeria, It's not just about health improvement, but this model offers an opportunity for sustainable investment. Then in Nigeria, scientific data are very limited. That is why we need this blockchain-backed system for this. So our DeSci architecture uses a blockchain anchor data registries like DAOs. DAO govern the research standard and tokenize replications incentive to ensure the integrity and the transparency of this data from researchers all over the world. So next slide. Yes. Next slide. Can we? The thing now is, can we really address global challenges without empowering local researchers and the traditional healers who know their plant best? We cannot do that, because if we try to do it, these are the people that have been using this plant for ages. That is why we need this thing. We need to take this to the blockchain and traditional and modern science combined with blockchain. In Nigeria, traditional healers are often the first point of contact with health challenges like this. But they don't have access to global platform or scientific validation they need. What if we could change that by integrating their knowledge with modern technology, by applying Web3 infrastructure? I think we can ensure data transparency, replication, and decentralized participation, which levels the playing field of researchers in Nigeria and other parts of the global south, in as much as there is a commercialization in the process. In conclusion, next slide. In conclusion, next slide. In conclusion, by combining traditional herbal knowledge with modern scientific tools and decentralized technology, we are not just validating these herbs for health benefit, but also we are creating a pathway for commercial success and investment opportunities. E-longiferia, which has endocrine and stress relief restorative agents, can be used out there by many who are under stress, and when integrated with this DeSci. The intersection of DeSci and the growing global demand for natural products opens door for both scientific and business collaboration. So that is what my research is all about. Thank you once again, DeSci Lagos 2020, for the opportunity to speak to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Joshua Nwogu, on your presentation on the future of male vitality. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you and your time. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from all of the presentations, and thank you for sticking with us through thick and thin. In fact, through thin, when we had the Cloudflare issue, and then we had to battle with our live meeting on Google Meet with the person, that was interrupting all of us. So today we've had amazing sessions. We had a keynote from Paul Colas from Bio and Molecule. We've also had other conversations and presentations by Ariel Adinka on policy and how it affects Africa, and on how it affects how we do science across Africa. We've also had Professor Ashiat Akodu from the University of Lagos on musculoskeletal and digital health practices in Africa. We also had Dr. Omolewa Adedipe from Athena DAO on how blockchain is revolutionizing reproductive health and how Athena DAO is playing an interesting role in it. We've also had from Research Hub Foundation Marketing Associate Amzat Temiloluwa on tooling for scaling research and publishing for scientists. We had Mark Melnikowicz from Cerebrum DAO on brain helping brains, how decentralized communities are accelerating brain health research. And we've also had from Spine DAO, Dr. Vincent Chalet, on changing backstories with Spine DAO. Additionally, we had paper presentations from amazing scientists trying to revolutionize how we do DeSci in Africa. And before we go, please, if you are watching us on any of the streams, please do well to do something very simple for us. Click on subscribe to our channel if you are on YouTube. If you are viewing this session from X, formerly Twitter, please do well to follow us. Very, very important. Follow us, and we'll see you tomorrow. So thank you so much. We want to appreciate all of our partners for day one. Our key partner, BioProtocol. Thank you so much for doing this with us. And then other partners, Web3 Ladies, the Academic and Research Board at the University of Lagos. Thank you so much, MGS Web3, and a host of other interesting partners that I cannot remember right now. Thank you for sticking with us, and we see you tomorrow. So please do not forget that the event holds physically tomorrow by 10 a.m. at the University of Lagos, Faculty of Social Sciences, and specifically the Unilag Design Studio. Please do well to find your way down there to connect with other contributors and pioneers of the DeSci space as well, right here in the Art of Africa, Lagos, Nigeria. So thank you so much for doing this with us for day one. We would be seeing you tomorrow at the venue. Please do well to have a wonderful evening. Stay blessed and have a nice day.